The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and you are here live for Deep Love Tarot, your weekly tarot love report for the week of September the 30th through October the 6th of 2019. If you never watched the show before, this is where we go deep into the tarot, of course, for your love life this week. We do a collective reading. We do all your sun signs. And we're here live on highvibe.tv. Make sure that you join us on highvibe.tv because we have all exclusive content for my sun sign horoscopes, my daily astrology horoscopes, my daily tarot polls, my weekly tarot polls. There's so much exclusive content on there, and we have free content, of course. But by supporting High Vibe, you're definitely supporting shows like this to be free on YouTube and out to the public for you to share with your friends and family. And there's so much awesome content on there. Especially, you can check out this awesome, art show that has been going on. It's an Art to Life with Kim Tabay. I just did an awesome painting on there, and then you can watch all the free content with her about what's going on. We have awesome video content. And also, if you could help us out by following us on Instagram, High Vibe TV. We're starting to post a lot of cool free content on there. So if you could definitely do that for us, we'd really appreciate it. And of course, we're here live with Craig, who's on the show. That's an awesome mix, the operations manager here at High Vibe. What's going on, bro?
Hello, friends. Hello, Mr. Palmer. How's everyone doing today? I was just telling Dave, it was a beautiful morning today. Got a little crispy out here in California, so winter is coming. I'm looking forward to it.
Uh-oh. And you know what? Winter is coming like in a kind of cryptic Game of Thrones way with Saturn and Pluto. This week, well, I want to say that last week, Craig, we didn't have full Craig. We got full Craig this week.
I was a little tired. Well, I was out in Colorado, like you all know. I went to a wedding. I was out there from Thursday to Sunday. I went to Red Rock Sunday night. Ended it off with a bang. Caught a 10 a.m. flight to be back here. So it's crazy what a week can do because I feel much better today.
Yeah, and I was not having the best week last week either. And what's funny is, even when I was doing that show with Kim, I wasn't, when I painted, I was not in a good space. But doing the painting and everything was a really big release. And so I think that's why it's important for you to really just give us a shot and try out High Vibe TV because really there's so much amazing content on there. And there's a lot of other talent besides me on there really pushing amazing content. And that's what really brings shows like this out, for free.
Well, and it is official that I will be having a podcast coming up on there here shortly. It's called The Doors of Perception. So that'll be exclusive for you High Vibe subscribers. So thank you all very much. And I look forward to putting that out.
Yes, and I know Craig wants to interview me about some psychedelic experiences I've had.
It'll be a little outside the box. It's not just going to be the mundane, you could say, I guess.
No.
I like to get weird.
That's why I love Craig, and I think it's going to be awesome to watch and hear this show. We also have a lot of other stuff that's going to be coming up, so we're really working around the clock to really give you the best that we can give. Now, this week, I just want to say astrologically, we just came out of a new moon this weekend in Libra. So if we're going to talk about love, this is a pretty intense time for love, I'll be honest with you. And Pluto comes direct this week on October the 3rd. And so this is a big deal because whenever Pluto moves forward, we just spent, that 6-month period really in retrograde, like really deeply processing what's on our road, what's not on our road, what we want to connect with, and what we don't, what we do and what we don't. Now with it direct, this is a big one because Pluto knows it's going to meet up with Saturn for the first time since 1983 was the last time that it happened in Libra, which deals with relationships. So now that's happening in Capricorn, this Pluto direct is going to begin the ending of the cycle from 82 and 83 in relationships. So I just want to say, be prepared, folks. And this week is pretty intense. We got Venus finally off the square to Pluto after Monday, and then Venus is in Libra all week. We got the Sun in Libra, and we got Mars entering Libra this week. So I just want to say, talk about relationships being a center focal point of the astrology, and a full moon next week in Aries. Whew, square Pluto, that'll be direct. This is going to be a crazy time. So before we go into your individual sun sign, we're going to do a collective reading right now. Today, for the cards that we're using, I'm using the original Rider-Waite. I'm not going to use the Golden Tarot as the first card. Our challenge card is going to be this Enchanted Spell Oracle. And a way out of understanding that and kind of a processing into the future of how to get through things, we're going to be using the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. And then I'm using these Black Moon Astrology cards as pretty much a spiritual advice overall of how to get through the challenge, and it kind of combines, I don't know, I do really weird spreads. I've just always been that person who kind of throws the spreads into different spaces. I like doing that, and you can never forget about the Astro dice that we do as well. So let's see what the collective has for this week. It's going to be quite a week. I'm really interested to see what we pop up with here. We got the Sun card reversed. Wow. Now, the Sun card's one of the best cards in the deck, of course, bringing about light and happiness and that inner child back, and it's really a card of consciousness. But when it's reversed, you know what? Our unconscious behaviors come up with the Sun reversed. Now, one thing about this card is it's not a bad card, so this is a good thing. But I would say that these old stories, romantic-wise, because this is a love show, that just feel like they're unconscious patterns or unconscious behaviors or unconscious energies, they have to go. So there is like, when the Sun's reversed, there is this turning back inward instead of outward. The Sun is very outward, right? And it's turning back inward and going, what needs to change to bring back that inner child? How can I get back on that horse to be outward again? Well, we got to do the inner work first. So it very goes, I think, especially well with the fact that because we pulled this as the first card, it's almost like Pluto comes direct midweek. So there is this last bit of Pluto in retrograde stationary that is having us go really deep inside. And what is it? How are we going to bring this light out? And then we're going to come out with a lot of light. And we'll see what the other cards bring. But remember, your inner child's trying to come out this week with love, but you got to do some last inner work. What is it that's not making you feel happy? What is it that's not making you feel aware? It's probably some unconscious or subconscious kind of like suppression or pattern. Our challenge card that we got is the ambition card. So maybe, you know what, we almost don't believe that we can have the love of our life. That might be a challenge. Or we feel like in our relationships, if you're partnered right now, like there's no goal, or did the goal get off course? You know, I think that this is just really a challenge just because it's like we almost can lose ambition if we don't have that strength, that inner child, that happiness. And I think that that's what we need to find this week to have love in our lives. We got to stop looking at things that are unconsciously really just like, you know, attached to kind of a Debbie Downer energy, and be ambitious again for happiness. Be ambitious again for spreading our light again. We got to let go of the situations that are pulling us down. I would say that this card with this Sun card reverse is saying like anything that is trying to pull you back from happiness, and you just got to learn to let go of it and move on. I would just be like, you know, instead of trying to fight it out or explain yourself or explain things, like get to your destination. You know, it's kind of like, it reminds me if you're going on a road trip and you want to get to your destination and somebody stops you and is like, well, why are you going there? Why don't you go over here? It's like, why even have the conversation with the person? You don't know them. You don't need to talk to them. If you ever watch The Hills Have Eyes, you definitely don't want to stop and talk to the gas station people. You know what I mean? As you're going into the direction. Sometimes maybe you do. Maybe they'll divert you from the path. But
yeah, there's some interesting people that you find out there on the streets.
I agree. I'm just saying that sometimes you don't have to explain yourself, you know? Like, it's somebody else's projection sometimes of what they think is better, right? sometimes it's good. Like when we were on tour last year, there was definitely people who said, hey, don't go here, go here. And it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But there's another part where like Craig and I love North Platte, Nebraska, and we love this one RV park. And you know, if somebody were to tell me right
campground.
now to go somewhere else, I'd be like, no, we know why we're going here.
Damn right.
So we did get the air card overall, and I do want to say that this means it makes sense logically, the things that are going to really bring back our happiness and bring our ambitions forward in happiness and love. Air is definitely always intellectual, and I think that we need to put ourselves in a much more intellectual place. It was weird. You should watch my live intuitive reading for this week, where I connect with my guides, talk to the angels, and talk to Source, and channel that message for this week, just an overall report of what's going on. Intellect came up a lot in that reading, and I want to say that this week we really have to be smart and just use our logic. What isn't making sense? Where is it to where the conversation, the environment, you know, air is dealing with always Gemini, the environment. It's dealing with Libra, you know, what makes sense, what's fair, and then it's dealing with Aquarius, what feels connected. And I think that there's this air time, and especially since we're in air with Libra, it's a very important time right now to just like, what logically makes sense, because the emotional aspects will fit right in easily right now when it makes sense. But emotions and trying to force them into situations that don't logically make sense, well, that's not going to go down too well. And we did get the Neptune sacrifice cards for the ambition challenge. And then overall, you know, it's like we are having to make a sacrifice. And I do see this with the sun reversed and with Neptune. Delusional stuff that we think is bright, we have to let go of. There's a lot of big sacrifices this week we have to take to have the ultimate ambition, to have the ultimate love and the ultimate happiness. We did get a Taurus moon, exalted, of course, in the 6th house. So this is definitely where we are adjusting our day-to-day reality, our day-to-day life, and we are saying, where do I feel much more positive? Where do I feel better? And let me make those adjustments. If this doesn't fit in my life and it doesn't feel good, out, and that's okay, because a moon in Taurus, and you're talking to moi, who has a moon in Taurus, if I don't like it and it doesn't feel good, if you get me to a car lot and you try to have me buy that car, or even if you take me to a restaurant and you try to sell me on some food that I know I don't like, not going to happen. So we know intuitively and emotionally what feels good for us in our reality and our life. It was kind of interesting. Right before I got this on CNN, there's a controversial article that all these health people are saying they're retracting their dietary aspect of go back to eating meat the way that you were. And now it's causing a controversy. And so I think it's really funny on how things jump around right now in life, right? Like we're being told, go here and eat this, or go over here and eat this, or even like it's funny, the vape situation. It's like, don't vape. And then now if you're vaping, you're this. And then it's like, we have a lot of details that need to come out, and what feels right, go with that. Everybody has their own way. That's the whole part of this time with Uranus and Taurus. Everybody has their own way. And instead of criticizing people that, no, that's the way, or this is the way, when it comes to your love life this week, you know the best way. And don't worry about everything else. Just worry about what feels right and what feels beautiful and pure, and sacrifice the things that you don't have to connect with anymore.
Yeah, that's what I never really got about, like the whole diets and everything like that. I mean, because I strictly feel that everybody's body is made differently, so there's no one true diet. And yeah, I mean, cutting down the consumption of, you know, meats and all that probably is a better thing, but I still eat meat every day, and I still eat a lot of vegetables every single day, and it does well for my body, mixed with intermittent fasting. And other people, you know, straight vegetarian diets help for them. The carnivore diets work for them. So I think it's really a play-by-play.
I think it's a play-by-play too. I think we just have to right now go with the flow of the universe and what feels right. And I mean, I know that the long-term plan is a big deal, but with Saturn still with that south node, even though it's finally off after 5 months, that's going to be a big part for relationships too, about kind of these old karmic stories coming to an end. But there is an element of us still, like, we can be a little bit overly delusional about the long term, and that's where you're seeing right now people in government, or even that young woman last week at the UN freaking out about climate change. Like, I know that might trigger people. I'm not saying I don't agree with her. I'm just saying that the way that it's coming across is people are looking so far into the future and thinking of destruction and death and all this stuff. When this North Node's in Cancer, like, let's just find comfort at the moment. We're more safe than people realize, in just life in general. And we need to find areas that fulfill us and feel good. And I think that this is a time where freakouts become extreme with Pluto retrograding and coming direct. I think that, you know what, instead of putting yourself through a freak out about what some outer source is, the whole part of Pluto is inner, like a Scorpio, right? A Scorpio goes with their inner authority. They don't go with outer authority. That makes sense?
It does make sense.
So,
yeah, like we got Sarah in there. She's having nachos and meat right now. It's like, do you, Sarah?
Fuck yeah, Sarah. Hey, Sarah, tomorrow are you coming? And is Dylan back in town? Let me know.
That's a different Sarah.
Oh, which Sarah is it?
I don't know. I just saw the name and said Sarah.
Oh, I thought it was Sarah. Anyway, interesting collective reading there. Let's see who we got first. Really? Oh man.
Not Scorpio.
Leo is first.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know. Have I ever been first before? I don't know. Is there any Leo questions? If you guys all have questions, we do pick a question on the subject line of the email. Remember to put your sun sign, like Leo or Scorpio or Aquarius or Taurus. I just used all fixed signs. But it's easy. It's just high vibe horoscopes, or what is it? Oh no, it's deeplovetarot@gmail.com. deeplovetarot@gmail.com. If you have some questions, because I answer questions. We pick one question from the emails for each sun sign. Deep Love Tarot.
I'm just rolling with the first one that I saw.
Yeah.
Which we do have a question.
We do have a question for Leo.
This woman. So I've been with this guy for over 4 years now. And after over 6 months of research, I'm pretty sure he has narcissistic personality disorder. And she still loves him. But I don't know if I should let him go or just move on and be single. And he wants to do better and yada, yada, yada. So what do you feel about narcissism? Because I felt like that was like the most overused word pretty much of 2018. Nothing against you or your issue that you're having. But how do you feel about that? And how do you feel about dealing with narcissism in a relationship? Mr. Palmer.
I would have to agree with you. It's a blanket term now used a little bit more. Like we're not going to deny that it exists because definitely narcissism exists. But yeah, I think that it could be sometimes used as a blanket term to where maybe it's triggering things within you, to the Leo out there, and especially being a Leo, it's really weird to hear a Leo talk about a narcissist. Fucking, that means usually it's a trigger that person's trying to have you step more into your own authority, your own power, and your own love for yourself. That's just some truth right there to a Leo. I've never in my life called anybody a narcissist as a Leo because I'm like, they're just into what they're doing. But I think narcissism for relationships can be where, it could be kind of toxic in the sense of where it's like, forcing people to be a certain way. They want to force you to change. They want to force everything to be into control. They tend to gaslight a situation and make you think you're crazy. You're the crazy one. You're crazy. You're crazy. They kind of try to make everything on their own pace, their own speed, and they're not able to go into your world like it's about their own life, their projects. You come with me. I'm not going to go. I don't care about your thing. So I think that, I don't know where the qualities are, but I think that wherever you're at, Leo, it's pretty simple to just be like, one, if you're having a feeling of a narcissist who's changing, it's like, well, where is this reflection of where you have to change and maybe step yourself up more? And at the same time, if it's been a long relationship and you're continuing to do this and you're seeing change, then keep going with that. But if your heart's really waiting for somebody to change, you got to use this Jupiter at the end of Sagittarius here now, because we're 2 months away from Jupiter leaving Sag, and that will be 12 years away. And I can tell you as a Leo, when it was around 2007, holy moly, that thing brought me into not only a great love of my life that was in my life and propelled me into being the Leo king and doing astrology and doing all this stuff. And she was a Pisces, and I have to thank God that she came in my life. And then Jupiter's right here now trying to build great love for Leos. And you know what? if you're going to deny yourself of the great love you want and you're going to wait for somebody and then they let you down and then we go into Jupiter and Capricorn in 2 months and it's like you're going to now use Jupiter and Capricorn to fix your life. It's like, oh man, you missed some opportunities. So you definitely don't want to miss opportunities. What do you think, Craig?
I think you can't play scared.
I like that. All right, Leo. First card that we got is the 5 of Cups reversed. So this is definitely a very weird in-between moment where there are things that didn't work out, but there's still this reminder that there's a lot of great things in life to have emotionally. So this could be, you know, that you've tried some certain relationships that didn't work out, or maybe the emotions haven't gone the way you are. So there's sorrow. There's a card of sorrow. It also is like a melancholy card, but it's about this week releasing the old melancholy energy to allow yourself to be back into a fulfillment and feeling good. And I can relate with this. I've been kind of going through some melancholy lately. So I think that it's about just releasing these melancholy feelings. And this is going to allow love and romance to become much better. And I also think that there is a warning about this card, like not to choose relationships to fulfill a void. You know, it's like choose relationships emotionally or make relationship decisions based upon what you already know you have in the good sense of your emotions, not because you just lost something or you're going through something emotionally difficult. And definitely make sure if you're in a relationship, you're not making decisions based off things that are outside the relationship that are emotionally difficult that you're just going through and then starting to project something great. Because if you ever notice on the 5 of Cups, there's always 2 cups that are not fallen behind. There's this reminder that there's great things that you still have, but don't bring these negative energies into these cups or start dropping good things that you have when these are separate issues. There's a lot of separate emotions going on. So stop combining emotions with other emotions, if that makes sense this week. Separate them and be like, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm melancholy or I'm not feeling good about this. Let this go. And you know what? This week, it's okay to be vulnerable with love. And if love can accept you with your vulnerability, that's how you know that's a good space. The challenge this week for Leos is the love card. So it's an interesting thing because having love there with the challenge is love is not an easy thing, you know, especially when you're coming from a space where if you're trying to fill it as a void or if you're not in the right emotional place. So this is also reminding you that love requires work. And I think that, you know, for Leos, it could be like, oh, love should just be super easy all the time. And I believe that, but I will say that love is definitely requiring commitment, right? Love requires putting in the work. And I love how these 2 lovers are, you know, both putting their hands on the tree. This isn't so much like on how, and they're both holding their hand on it. They're both willing to put in the same amount of energy and grow something beautiful. And so the challenge could be, you know, is another partner ready to grow as much as you are? Are you ready to grow as much as another partner? And this is going to be all based upon where you're at with emotions. And if you've let go of old sorrow emotions and you're not bringing that into this energy this week, and time is the overall thing that, you know, things do take time. Although whenever I look at this card, even though I got this more in a positive position, it's like there's a lot of time that, you know, you have to figure things out. But it's also at the same time, I think it's always funny using this time card, is that I always feel like, you know, you don't have all the time in the world. Like, it's like, you know, you kind of have to make some choices here, you know, about life, about what you're going to be doing with love, what you're going to be doing with these emotions. Like, are you just going to sit on this all forever, or what are you going to do? So this is definitely going to be a really weird week. I would definitely put this as like a weird, like this could bring some relationship problems up for sure. I don't know if we're still running those or not, or well, I guess we are.
We're back, baby.
Oh man, we're back.
Speaking of love, though, I really love that color scheme that's going on behind you on that wall.
I have to say I love it too.
I'm a big fan of it.
It's super, super good. You know, it's funny when I watch videos of us from like 6 months ago when we weren't doing all this with Kim's paintings and all that, and I'm like, how did we even get away with that? You know?
I don't know.
And the overall is the Mercury retrograde reinvention card. So you know what? Love can reinvent you, Leo. It's almost like approaching love in a new way. This is a Mercury in Scorpio. Different emotional aspects. It's also in Libra too, so rethinking the emotional aspects of how you go about love is going to be a whole new thing for you this week. So I think that at the end of the day, it can cause some problems, but it's more of your own internal issues, and if you're going to bring them out on others. I think that the other thing too is that, there's this feeling that time is kind of ticking and it's all on top of you. And I feel that this is just more about, getting more in touch and with your feelings and taking the time to understand where your feelings are at and communicate your feelings and just take things as time is instead of trying to predetermine how it's going to be or force anything. I think that this is a very non-forcing energy all over the place. So don't force things, because if you try to force anything, it's not going to go that well. We did get the third house with Saturn and Libra. Yeah, so you know what? This is about taking the understanding of communicating, because also the third house is Libra for Leos, and it's with Saturn here, and I have Saturn in the third house, so I know all about this one. It's it's about knowing how to communicate from your truth, but also communicate in a way to where in yourself and your mind, control your thoughts. Don't go down some unbalanced road. Stay in harmony, stay in a positive place this week, stay in a positive attitude this week, and things will be all right. But if you start slipping, it's going to be because of where your thoughts are at, and that creates some negative conversations and negative aspects, and you want to project those out. Leos were very good at projecting unfair things when maybe we didn't think of it all the way through or balance it out. That's why you usually see kings and queens don't get a good rap sometimes, is when they start blabbing their mouth too much crazy.
Yes, we just cannot live in this negative way. Make way for that positive day.
It's true.
That's true, baby.
That is true.
We got a lot of questions.
Virgo's next.
Perfect.
A lot of Virgo questions?
It's quite possible.
I would not doubt it. A lot going on for Virgos right now. And in love, too. I just want to say hi to the chat room. We got 659 people. Yo. Remember, I'm always live in the chat with you all.
Here's a little question.
We got another question. All right.
Sure.
So the email for question is that one person wants to know, and it's
a secret.
deeplovetarot at
gmail.com.
So
yeah, there's a bunch. So I just grabbed the top Virgo one.
All right.
She seems like she needs a little help.
Let's give her some.
I'm going through a pretty turbulent time with an Aries guy, her boyfriend. 5 breakups in 6 weeks. Sounds super healthy. Pretty intense for a Virgo. What can... don't get me wrong, I'm under no illusion that this will last, but I know the intensity is activating something. Maybe just a reminder to my Pluto. If you're addicted to the drama and want to be in a situation that's obviously not healthy, then yeah, maybe it's activating that to knowing your limits of the shit that you want to put yourself through. But I'd say that you're kind of wasting your time. You both are probably wasting your time. Davey boy?
Well, I would say that many breakups, within that amount of time, it's kind of if it doesn't stick, it doesn't fit. Or, when you're actually in life and you're trying to make something work and it just keeps failing, why keep trying? The universe is almost diverting.
You can't fake the funk.
Huh?
You can't fake the funk.
No. Literally, it's kind of I'll put it this way. I'm a DJ, right? So it's if I keep trying to mix a track and in my headphones, and every time I load it up and before the audience knows it in my queue, and I'm lining it up and just the bass and the track doesn't go well and the keys are off, it's I get rid of that track. If I sit there and keep trying to mix it and the song's about to end and now I have to find another song, and what's gonna happen? And the whole mix is messed up. I love how you use that flow. This person needs to realize that that's not a flow. That's not a flow to love. Love is something that is so easily accessible, and it just kind of slips into your life right next to you, and it just rolls, and it just goes in the right way. This is definitely something that I would not waste my time on. And Aries Virgo can be good if it finds its flow immediately. If it doesn't find its flow, Aries Virgo can butt heads extremely and not go on a flow, and it really feel like a clunky mess. So,
Yeah, I felt like she needed to hear some truth because...
And we got sirens in the background as
Yeah,
we're saying this. Stay away.
It's just mind-blowing that you would continue putting yourself through that. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a man behind a...
Well, I'm somebody who pays
Camera.
attention to all the environment, and one of the oldest rules in reading is you listen to signs, even hearing, and I don't know if they all heard. We just had like probably 4 or 5 ambulances and a freaking fire truck go by, so... The Hermit reverse, and this might help all Virgos. One, I know there's a part of you ready to come out, ready to do all this stuff, ready to just say, fuck it, I'm ready to go into the great love and all these things, but the Hermit is very wise. And so this is a great week, but don't forget about your wisdom, because out of nowhere, when things start to get good, or if they look too good to be true, and then you let go of your wisdom, and it starts to go in a crazy place, it's probably because you took off your wise cap. Now, the Hermit reverse could also mean, especially in love, maybe it's time for those single ones or those ones who haven't been in love or those in a relationship that haven't been putting much in. Like maybe you've been kind of hermiting in your own space, you need to come out now, you know, it's kind of like the old man kind of coming out of like, you know, long-term study in the fucking library, you know? So this is definitely a time for Virgos that both aspects, though, no matter when you come out the way you want to, you know, you got to put yourself in a position to where you remember your wisdom and you don't lose yourself into kind of a craziness. And at the same time, we can go crazy if we stay too hermetic as far as just staying in the same position all the time. Like hermetic comes from, or hermit comes from hermeticism, right? So like this is a time for you to continue to understand both sides of the equation and not one side. The Hermit sees things from both sides. It sees the dark and the light. That's why it's being guided by the light. And you don't want to be blinded by the light, revved up into solitude as your challenge card. Okay, so we got 2 cards dealing with solitude here and being kind of hermit-y. But with the challenge here, it's almost like you're not taking the time to process all that's going on. That's the way I'm reading this. So there's a lot of energy this week that you're ready to run full speed into. Are you sure you know what you're doing? This has come up twice now. This is like applying, or at least keeping a foot on the brake, you know. Race car, when you're in a race car, it's not 1 foot on the gas and then you put 1 foot on the fucking brake. When you're in a race car, you keep 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake to get around the turn and to know when to, because at any moment when you're on the gas, you might want to push the brake, not pull it off that little half second and then messing up with your foot and accidentally hitting the wrong pedal is the wrong thing. And I know they teach you at DMV to use 1 foot. My grandmother, who's 94 years old, my Oma, still drives, but the old school, like, left and right foot, because you know what? When you're in a car, you never know. And I think that this is applying, like don't be afraid to go forward, but keep a foot on at any moment. If something feels off this week or it feels like it's gonna be too much in your life, don't be blind and just be like, I can take all this on, because Pluto is coming direct and gonna reveal some truth with your romantic life this week and everything. And I would hate for you to be like, I took on too much. I put in too much here and what the fuck, or I believe too much into this. There's definitely a need to understand that. And we got Stormy after that. Ooh, Stormy Daniels just had to pay what, $450,000 to that?
$450K.
$450K. We got Stormy Daniels for you all. Yeah, it can go into some craziness no matter what's going to happen this weekend. That's why you're going to need to have that wisdom, and you're going to need to have that solitude to understand how to navigate the waters. Because if you're in kind of Maniaville, I keep feeling this manic energy that's like almost too positive about things without some wisdom or breaks. You'll come into this storm, and there's nothing worse than when the Titanic hits the iceberg in the storm, that where you're all manic and now you're trying to run down here. It's when you're in a calmer space, you were ready, you were prepared to deal with it, that you could either save it or even miss something and take these stormy waters and know how to understand them because you're in a calmer place and you're using your inner wisdom. This is where this week I think that Virgos in love are going into a lot of ride the train to the greatness, but is there more here that has not been seen, that your wisdom is not applied to the situations? Because you're about to enter into more chaos the more you take on, the more you believe without some sort of knowing, some sort of, with Mercury now coming into Scorpio this week, and it's going to go retrograde at the end of this month, and it is going to be here for months. And this happens to be your third house. Yeah, it's like, you're excited, but are you really ready for the environment of all this stuff where it could be a lot of stress if you're not knowing how to turn it off a little bit and calm down a little bit? There's a little bit of like, calm down here a little bit, Virgo. Oh yeah, look at that. I pulled the third house of messages as that overall. Yeah, I would say that you're only going to get the true understanding when you take a moment, you apply the brakes, and you look at what you're doing. This week, know with what you're doing. It doesn't mean don't move forward. It means before you move forward into things that you take a breath. You need a breath this week of whatever choices you're making. Do not just run off. Yes, okay, blah, 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 blah. Take a breath. Is this good? What's my wisdom say? I'm pulling out for a second. Let me look. There's a lot of energy coming, so can I really handle this? Did I deal with all my inner shit, especially Hermit reversed? Did I really stop and be doing the work lately, or am I just running to try and, get into this because it's stimulating? Sure, stormy weather is really stimulating, and Stormy Daniels, well, she's not stimulating at all to me. I don't even know how anybody would pay $1 for that woman because she's crazy and weird. But look at her life. Don't become Stormy Daniels this week. She got so excited. She thought she was going to become famous, get all this money, take down Trump, and then now look at her life. And then look what happened to her lawyer, too. She's a great example. I don't know why when Stormy pulls up, lately my guides have been using Stormy Daniels as the example. Virgo, don't get too excited without doing your homework. We got Taurus, 4th house with the South Node. Yeah, you're going to need to focus on more instead of this 4th house Taurus South Node where it's like, this just feels good, this is great, this is what I feel. North Node in Scorpio, and the 10th is like, actually, what makes sense for my long term, and what am I truly committed to? Not just because it feels good that I've unveiled the truth, and I know how much I can take in. Because 4th house Taurus is like, oh, bring everybody in the house. Bring everybody. Bring all the food. Put it all in the fridge. And then what happens 4 days later? Now you have a fridge full of fucking smelly food, and now you got to throw in the trash, and now you got a whole house full of people that didn't clean up. And guess what happens? You're cleaning up a mess. And I think that you don't want to end up in any messes. And a Virgo in a mess, woo! That is a stressful situation to look at.
I'm ready for a little stormy weather to be coming in. A little rain mixed with a little bit of sunshine. It's nice.
Hey, be careful what you wish for there, Craigie.
I'm ready. I'm down. I'm ready to wear some shoes, maybe.
Be careful what you wish for. I'll call Stormy Daniels up. She just paid $450K. I bet you she'll take a fucking $500. I'll bring her here for you. You want some Stormy?
I want natural storms.
Capricorn's nice. Hey, bro, I didn't know you were down for Stormy. I'll call her up. I'm sure we can call her agent in 1 second. I'll get her on I'll get her on spiritual dance music, bro. I'll have her sit with you. Sorry. You and Trump could be Eskimo twins, Eskimo brothers.
I mean, who's to say that we aren't already? So we've got a Capricorn question. That's who you said that we are on, right? Caps.
Okay, go.
I don't even know if this is like true or not because I don't know too much about astrology. But when will Caps be done with karmic relationships and have unconditional love come into their reality again? Is there something with Caps and karmic relationship debts going on right now that I'm not aware of? Maybe.
Well,
maybe not.
I think the thing going on with Capricorns is, one, Pluto has been a Capricorn since 2008, so every 6 months, and then the 6 months direct. It's just been Pluto that's just been taking 16 years. Remember, Pluto's on a 16-year journey here through Capricorn from 2008 to 2023, where it comes into Aquarius and it retrogrades back into Capricorn and finally leaves Capricorn in 2024. So I think Capricorns are going through a weird time because Uranus went into Taurus, which is their 5th house of love, and it's trying to find the better quality of things. But with the South Node and Saturn, this is a big reboot that is like a reboot that no Capricorn wanted again. It's almost like Mel Gibson, who was one of the first Capricorns to fall. Tiger Woods fell after him, right? Like it's almost like Tiger Woods had this reboot. He won the US Open this year. Or he won the Masters, I'm sorry, and then what's happened since? Nothing's happened, and another reboot's happening for him. It's like, what? I thought I had it. When it comes to love, Uranus is saying, like, we need to keep moving forward and keep trying better things because we're rebooting constantly and we're continually, our identities changing as a Capricorn, and we're rebooting the biggest right now. And the Saturn-Pluto thing's coming up. So it's not so much about karmic relationships, even though there's this North Node in Cancer. It's like, you need to really find a relationship that knows how to adapt with your ever-changing, it's almost like if a Capricorn is a boat, changing the name every year. So it's like, I don't know, the Sprite boat. It's always a woman name though.
Yeah,
so
it's supposed to be a
Sprite-tina.
woman. Oh, that's a good one.
And then next month or next year, it's Dr. Peppera. And then next year, it's Coca-Cola. And the boat name just keeps changing. You need to find a partner and a love that's like, I know you're going through massive changes and I'm supporting you in that way.
I'd name mine Jenny.
Well, exactly, but that's like the whole problem with Forrest Gump, right? I'm glad you brought up Forrest Gump. He was so obsessed with Jenny, and Jenny just kept changing all the time. She was with the Black Panthers, remember? And she was fighting for this, and she was a hippie, and then she was like a drug addict, heroin addict, and then she ended up getting HIV, and she ended up just running back to Forrest when she had HIV and had his kid.
Wasn't she a nurse at the end, though, or something like that? I think she
I remember she tried to do the good thing after she had the kid with Forrest, and she felt bad because she remember she went and she fucked Forrest and then left him the next morning after he fell in love with her and all this shit. And then for 5 years she left, and he went running. Remember, he went running for like, I think 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and then one day he just stopped.
And then he stopped because he was over doing that anymore. And then he came back, and that's when his mom was dying, and then his mom died. And then, long story short, Jenny came back, and she was trying to do the right thing by just like, I'm going to go be a nurse now because I have HIV and I have a kid now, It's like,
So she was being responsible at the end.
Yeah, I guess. And then she, of course, hit up Forrest probably because she was tired of doing that, because the whole part of the movie is him sitting on the bench telling the stories until he's ready to he didn't even have to take the bus when the one woman goes, that street's just right there. And then he ends up going and meeting his little son Forrest and having to take both of them back and get married, and then she dies right away.
I love it when he asked, when he's like, he's got a daddy named Forrest too.
Yeah, I know. Oh, does he has a daddy named Forrest too? So I think that for Capricorns, they need to realize that,
love it. I love
they're a little bit like Jet A. And so they might not realize it, but they want like this everlasting love. Well, that everlasting love is that somebody who can accept you for the ever-changing life that is not stable right now. Cappy's pulled the Emperor card this week. Yeah, coming into you having to make some big decisions about what you want in your life with authority, but this is a good card because the Emperor is better than a king because it's in the major arcana. The Emperor gets there by making the right moves to get where they are. It's not because of their bloodline that they just become some sort of ruler. So this week you have to stand tall. I also like that the Aries Rams are always on the Emperor card because there's this aspect of needing to stand, and they're all over. You can see Aries at the top too here. But Aries does rule your 4th house. It is kind of interesting this week too with all the Libra about your 10th house. Like, this is time for you to set the plans right in your love life. Like, if things are not working to plan, even though, yes, your identity changes a lot, but you still can determine the best plans in your life. Are the relationships you're bringing in, or is your relationship taking you where you really want to go this week? You need to take more control and more power in your relationships, and you need to be more determined, like, this is going to work and this is not. I think Capricorns have been a little bit stuck in trying to just hold on to things when really it's like, are you really sure that this is exactly who you are and who you want to be? Because if you deny the change of this Pluto Capricorn is when the ship falls or the Tiger Wood incidents happened or, anything like that. It's like this is a time for you to take power back in your life individually and make sure that your partnerships are in alignment with that. Your partners or new relationships, that they see this more confident part of you, because I think that you have to have confidence again in where you're going with your life. Where's it going? And relationships are always connected to Capricorns and where they're going, because Libra rules your 10th house. So you either go to the moon and back if you have the right partners and the right person next to you flying on the Apollo mission, or it's Apollo 13 and that motherfucker barely makes it back, or Challenger mission. Innocence is our challenge card. So I think that, whenever we pull this as the challenge, there's something issue with you just being able to realize like situations are as they are. The truth of the situations in love this week and seeing it for what it is. It could also be a little bit weird with an Emperor and Innocence. They're very opposite, right? Innocence is very like accepting of the true nature, where Emperor's kind of this more, this is what I'm achieving and this is what I want. But the Emperor is not a dumb, ego, narcissistic card. It's very wise. So are you wise enough and are you innocent enough to really look in your own self this week about who you are and what you really want in your life? And are you actually denying that truth? And are you actually almost like creating a situation that you really don't want to be in, or a situation that you don't like, or a situation that you know you shouldn't be going through, and saying you can't because it's too innocent, when really, if you look at the true innocence of yourself, that's not who you are. This is throwing everything back on yourself and your own plans, and not so much of looking outwardly and having to look more inwardly this week. And I think that's a challenge though, especially knowledge popped up here, that it's like there's a lot of information that you know already, that you've reviewed about all these situations, and it's like you know what to do, but you're almost afraid, and the Emperor card saying you can't be afraid anymore to execute. This is an execution week. Pluto comes direct in your sign. This is big shift and big change. So this is changing the way that you have to be in a relationship if you're going to sustain and stay in it, or this is also about, if you're single, going about relationships differently about what you want and how you want it, and knowing that there's like this ever-changing process, because that you haven't truly defined exactly the road yet, with this understanding that you're in a time where the universe is just throwing Capricorns through non-stop shifting and change. It's just never stopping. Just what the hell? Like there really is not stability. So because Pluto is tumultuous and Pluto is just brah. And I think that you have to like take the innocence of yourself and be like, I change a lot. I know that. This is where I want to go. If you can't handle that, or if this, I think innocence challenges also the reflections of the partners that you're looking at. Like, are you looking at the truth of that, or have you formed some sort of false innocence to it when you know there's other things that are going on that you don't like? And I can't believe you pulled the Capricorn card as your overall on this, that, you know what, you got to be a true Capricorn now, especially with all this 10th house energy. And yes, relationships are important with the North Node of Cancer, but I think what's more important is that you have to take control back of what you want in your life, where you want your life going, because there's something saying that you are off track right now and you are feeling more farther off in alignment. And if you're in relationships and that's feeding into that and using your own innocence, oof, you could fall off the wrong road right now. You got to get back on track. And you did pull Pluto in the 6th house of Virgo. Wow, yeah, you need to make major life changes this week. You need to get back on track. You need to get back in rhythm. The rhythm is off. So how do you get yourself back into rhythm? And is that really possible? Pluto needs to look at the truth and go, can this get back in rhythm? Or, my significant other is shooting up heroin every morning, and I'm trying every morning to go find clean needles and hide it from the kid. And like, are you really thinking that's a good rhythm? Do you think that'll change just by having the needles delivered to the house?
So it's almost like taking the power back and like holding yourself accountable instead of
like you're gonna have to take the power of the show, because even though I went pee, I drank a shit ton of water and I have to pee again. So
yeah. Does everybody
How about
wanna hear
this?
that?
The next sign is Libra.
Oh, perfect. Libras. All right, everybody. So yeah, I guess I'll talk to you a little bit about this podcast. It's going to be coming out. Like I said, it is going to be called The Doors of Perception. And I kind of wanted to take a step back from, all the great content that's on High Vibe. It's very informative. It's very straightforward. And me, myself, I guess I don't necessarily have, a divinity that I follow. But through this, I've gotten to meet so many interesting people. And I kind of wanted to share everybody's experience and like how they got to where they are right now. The first guest on there is a good friend of mine. His name is Bill, and he's been working with chia seeds for. I met him when I was about 15, so a little bit over 15 years ago. And when I first started talking to him about it, he had just gotten back from Mexico City, meeting with the government down there because Mexico has onset diabetes in their kids, and so what they actually found out, the compound was reversing diabetes in the young kids. So he was teaching them how to farm. And it's just it's a very beautiful story mixed with his experiences, growing up in the 60s and the 70s and all that too. So I wanted it to be informative, but I also wanted it to be fun as well. So again, it's going to be the doors of perception, kind of the journey that got you here. Dave also is going to be on it as well, so you'll get to see a whole new side of him. Like if you guys did check out that painting that he did with Kim last week, I know a lot of people were saying that they saw a new side of Dave as well, which was great. So we're just kind of trying to expand the awareness and expand basically the light and bring it all to you and have a damn good time while we're doing it as well. So big shout out to everybody that's been supporting that new series that we're doing. There's an Art to Life with Kim Tabay over there on High Vibe. It's for free. She does beautiful paintings. You can hit her up anytime also, Kim_Tabay. Mr. Palmer is back in the house. How'd it go, my brother? Was it a success?
It was actually a beautiful success. I made a new commitment.
Good.
Last week to drink more water, and that's what I've been doing.
Look at
I used
you.
to drink, I don't know if you remember, I used to drink a crap ton of water.
I don't remember that.
It was when I was living on Fashion Island. I had my,
I'm kidding.
I used to drink a lot of water.
Yeah, well, it's good that you're implementing that back into your life.
I'm just bringing it back,
It's good.
I drink water, but it started to get to where it was like 1 glass a day when I used to drink like 12. So I'm back on the water train.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. All right, we got some Libras here.
So we got Libras. What was the question? Or we don't have a question?
I was having too fun just promoting myself.
Hey,
That I forgot to look.
you can promote yourself as much as you want. That's cool with me, doggy. You look good.
Let's see. Again, if you're writing in, please don't ask specific questions like, I'm a Libra and I'm trying to date a Sagittarius. Is that going to work? Yada, yada, yada. Because I'm just going to go right through it, but it takes up a little bit of time.
No problem.
This person just asking, she just wanted some clarity. Do we only listen for our sun signs? No, it's for everything, right? For moon, ascending.
Sure. We'll take whatever we can get.
Yeah, so it's not just specific to your sun sign. As a Libra, I've spent many years being too focused on my relationship at the expense of my own self. How do I find true self-love and then build a relationship that is mutual and not codependent? I think that's one of the better questions that we've had, and it pretty much applies to everybody.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah, that's good. Kudos to you.
it's a good one. I think that actually the whole self-love thing, I think people take it as a little too serious when it's actually a very easy, simple thing. Self-love is always just you enjoying yourself, you enjoying what you do, you enjoying the things in life that you like to do. It's kind of like if you have a weekend off, it's like self-love is like, you know what? I'm going to go in the garden and I'm going to go fuck with that tree and clean it up, and I'm going to go buy a shed, or I'm going to go, it's about being in creativity, believe it or not. Self-love also is about when you look at yourself, you go, I really like who I am. I like what I'm doing. I like the way I do this. I like the way I do that. and you come into a place to where you just like who you are. It's like not this big accomplishment. Like, I have finally achieved self-love. Zeus has given me the power of self-love. Now I can go find the ultimate thing. Because when you come into that space, like, and you've like think that you've accomplished self-love, is usually when you haven't accomplished it. There's no such thing as accomplishing it. Self-love just always is. And what happens with partnerships is they're in their happiness. They like to do what they want to do. In relationships, when people like who they are individually, they don't rely on other people. They just go do what they got to go do. You go do what you got to go do, and you meet up when you both want to see each other, and it's a beautiful thing. And it doesn't become codependent, because usually codependency is one person is surviving off the love of another. And that's where you're basing your whole entire idea of love off of. When love starts from the self. And that's usually why people honestly get heart attacks or they die early, is like they're not happy. And so, unless you're a Capricorn, there's some ways that Capricorns are cryptic and they can last till the end of time and they can keep going unhappy and working because actually their happiness is work or accomplishment. So, it depends. Libras, though, relationships are your happiness. Whether it's Libra moon, Libra rising, Libra sun. So self-love is always going to be an Aquarius. The uniqueness of who you are, the weirdo that you are, and trying new things and not damning yourself and shaming yourself for being a little bit rebellious and finding the love of being that rebel that you are. But also knowing that a rebel needs to do a rebel with a cause, because a rebel without a cause is not going platinum. I don't know if people got that joke. But you have to realize that you have to have a cause with your uniqueness, a cause with your self-love. And when you have that cause that helps others and brings joy to others and brings love and light, you're just going to have so much partnership-wise. It's going to be like, I see that, I have that too, and we can come together for things, but I know you got your thing and I know you've got yours, and bam. It's pretty simple, actually. But it's self-love's being thrown around now like it's like going to meditation or something, or it's going to yoga. When self-love is something that you do from the moment you wake up to even in your dreams, like you saturate in your self-love of, wow, I had that crazy dream. And self-love has a little bit of what we were talking about earlier, a little bit of narcissistic quality. Like if you can't look in the mirror and be really happy with what you see, then self-love is definitely not there. And that's the problem with the blanket term of narcissism now, is it's actually created people, when they actually step into self-love, to actually go, oh, you know what? I'm being a narcissist. And I think Bill Maher said it best this weekend on Friday about the white privilege thing. He was like, now all white people are like throwing up tweets like, I wish I was never born white, and it's a good question, because it's like, okay, I understand the white privilege thing 100%. But it's also at the same time to not you have no control over that. You have no control over you liking who you are. Yeah, Stop damning yourself about that.
I was a South American in a past life, so.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that's a whole nother subject about race and all that. We're all human, so I look at everybody as a human. I've never in my life looked at somebody as well, I'm not going to be friends with them because they're that. I've never even thought of that. I don't know, but that's just, I think, people who are spiritually and open. But I think that there's this quality of you can't damn yourself. A lot of people, especially Librans, could do that, because they're in the sun's fall position. And I think that this is a good lesson for anybody out there. When you start saying, I can't love myself this much, you're pretty much closing off your heart. It's a hard one. So let's see what Libra's got. Wow, they got the judgment card reversed. Stop judging yourself, Libra, and judging others. Because actually, you're not on your path. Wow, that one's pretty deep. Judgment reverse is when the universe is, judgment card actually is when the universe is calling the trumpet horns and calling them people to rise, to do something that universe and God and Creator is telling them to go towards. And, really, I think the ultimate judgment of God is more about what we do this life in service than about what we just do. So people try to associate, I'll get to heaven if I'm just a good person. I think that it's like being a good person that's doing it because you are being a good person because you want to be a good person, and it has a purpose behind being a good person, not just like, as long as I follow these rules and I act like I'm a good person, I'll get into heaven. Like there's this kind of, you know, judging others for how they are. We're not looking at the judgment that actually they're the ones judging. So this week you could cause some relationship troubles. We're going to throw that one up with the judgment reversed, especially after what I just said.
Or you just ask for a little forgiveness and then it's all good too. That's supposed to wipe out the issues that you caused.
Yeah, I think that judgment with Libra it can be very harsh, but I also think that this is saying like, what are you doing right now in your life, Libra, to actually stop feeling and start projecting onto others, you know, why you're not rising to the level that you want to. It's kind of like, it's not everybody else's fault. It's just, you're just needing to just step up and come from a non-judgmental place. And the only judgment you should be doing is, am I stepping into my full greatest self? Am I following what the universe is asking me to do? And am I doing something that's good? Because this can usually also, judgment reversed, be kind of like throwing yourself as I'm the one calling on how people should be. And that's God's job, not yours. Integrity is your challenge. So that's out of integrity. When you put integrity in a position that you're the judging character of what integrity is, who's to judge true integrity? I think that, of course, we can come up with society aspects, social aspects. We can come up with, you know, what's integrity to do with a career. But, you know, it's like every job's different. Like Craig and I, you know, we work together, right? Like we have a different set of integrity of what kind of people we want to work with than maybe, let's say, working down the street at Target and what you should be like. So integrity is something that is not defined by every corner of every space. And I think that this is a challenge in your relationships, is throwing this integrity element on people of how, especially this card's hilarious because it's balancing, that I think there's an imbalanced understanding of what integrity is, or judging people off their integrity in a negative way, when it's really kind of a projection on yourself this week. So, whew, all right, Libra. You did pull the psychic card. Tap into what psychically feels right instead of your mind. I think that your mind, I think that even your own belief systems, because whenever we get into judgment or we get to integrity, these become belief system aspects. This psychic card is like two energies coming together and formulating this beautiful bond of the outer, the inner, to the spiritual, to the reality, from the one person to another. And there's like, just tap into what psychically feels right, what intuitively feels right, instead of almost denying yourself of such a beautiful energy that's trying to come together by your own weird integrity standards and by your own judgments that are coming up, that you're the one trying to control how you want these energies to come together in life. Your love life, other people's love, your relationship, like just let it happen. Just let things happen. You don't need to start putting up all these, well, this and that and this. Like, this is a time for just, hey, like, just go to what feels right and what connects. And throw kind of these other things out the window that you're judging things on. You did pull the lunar eclipse, the change card. This is a gnarly week. We're going to have to pull another card. You pulled lunar eclipse, change. And I think that the change on integrity is like, are you ready to make the change of the choices you make, of the people that you make, the choices you make based off your own idea of what integrity is? And are you trying to emotionally escape by judging things a spiritual nature of connection and intimacy? I think that there's a lot of intimacy issues that are going on right now, especially as Mercury's going to oppose Uranus this week. And you have Uranus retrograde in your 8th house. So I want to pull a Ganesha card for this, because getting a lunar eclipse change card is definitely pretty intense in that
Those
deck.
lucky Libras.
Yeah, Libras are going to need it.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like what you were saying before, when you just like have all these boxes that you're trying to check off constantly. You end up missing a lot of beauty that just like inherently gets brought into your life that you never would have noticed, because you're just so focused on, no, it needs to be this way, it needs to be this way, I can't do that, I must do this.
Well,
So, like,
nothing's
really just, like, take a
perfect.
step back.
Nobody's perfect. Nobody can fit in the perfect box. Nobody, and again, you know, I'm not putting down Libras. This is just what the card said for this week. So, but Libras can tend to be the more judgmental ones in the zodiac. And they are usually projecting a judgment off of something because they're afraid to commit, or they're afraid to really go into something. So they find a good excuse to create an argument that gives them the out. And I think that this is where Ganesha is going to help and say empowerment. Why don't you start using the opposite form of judgment and send your energy of empowering others? Because if you're not empowering others, your relationships are going to shit. Like, instead of this disempowerment, like, this is where you do this. This is where you do that. Well, guess what? Why don't you start being like, I love the way that you do this. You make me smile every time you do that. I love the way that you show up. I love the way that you kiss me. I love the way you look in that today. I love the way you are. Because if you step into empowerment right now, that's integrity. That's it. Empowerment, empowerment, empowerment. When you empower others, they come back with that love back. And that's one thing that if you don't have this, and I'm going to say this because there is this godly element with this judgment card. If you can't even sit and pray with your significant other or person you're dating about how well the relationship's going to go, or that you want the relationship to go in a good way and to have an empowering position of I want this to go great, instead of just coming at it from a non-prayer state, from a I'm the judge of it, I'm God in a way, and I'm the one judging it. Do you really think there'll be beauty there? And do you think that's going to come because something logically is better, that it'll just show up or something? I dare you to try that this week, Libra.
Double doggy dare.
Saturn in the 6th house, Capricorn. Yeah, this is a very, very critical week for you as far as being a critic, and also learning to tailor and to restrict your criticisms, and learn how to make sure that criticisms are working for achieving things, then destroying things and putting them down and restricting things. Because Capricorn Saturn is very strong, and we have that now. For you, that's in your emotional house. And with the 6th house aspect here in this dice, I think that it's about learning, like, you need to find a flow and a rhythm that can achieve what you want, instead of throwing in a monkey wrench into this thing with your own criticisms, and that's stopping the flow, and that's stopping the way things are going. Then you're not going to achieve anything or anywhere with anybody, because you're going to do that to the next relationship. The prayer thing, I think, is a big thing. My guides came up with that one.
I like that one.
Well, it's funny. I think that it's important. Cancer. Being an ordained minister and being a family with literally, I think it's 6 or maybe 5 of my direct lineages, and even one of the things I'm working on right now is that one of my family members on the Cushman side of my family that came on the Mayflower and that married Mary Allerton, who was Isaac Allerton on the Mayflower. One of the first reverends in 1621 America, before it was America, before it was anything, it was just kind of wild. Like, I'm a direct lineage of that reverend. So I have a lot of reverends in my family.
Maybe that's where Kush came from also.
Huh?
Maybe that's where the strain Kush came from.
No,
from your lineage.
Kush came from India.
Bro, look at you just changing lives.
Cushman with C-U-S, Cushman from England. But I can tell you that there is something about praying about when you're forming a relationship, when you're in a relationship, every night before you go to bed, praying together all the time, and trying to bring empowerment to the relationship and bring God into the relationship. I'm a huge believer in that. That builds things in the right direction. But when you start coming into criticism and all that stuff, you're not in prayer, you're in the opposite of prayer.
I'll have to give that a shot next time. I'm 0 for 1 really when it comes to relationships, so.
I can tell you, it's a very big sign if the other person's really on their spirit. I'm going to use this as because we're in the spiritual community, people like to run around, say they're spiritual, and they've got all these gifts. One of the biggest things of a test will be how somebody feels when you pray with them. I will hold somebody's hand and be like, let's pray together. let's pray right now about building this beautiful relationship. And the reaction or the discomfort or the comfort and the excitement defines to me if this is going to be good. And the appreciation of that or the non-appreciation of that, not that I'm judging, but it's more just of like, okay, that's where they're really at with spirituality. That's where they're really at with their sense of source. So, all right, we got
a little one for Cancer. Pray, people. You take your lover's hand and you hold it tight and you pray. It's good advice. Should Cancer stay away from air signs is like a thing? I mean, because I know there's that like water and air. Because I know before you had said, but the potentially like Scorpios and Libras aren't, right? And that'd be water and air.
Well, Scorpio and Libra have a different arrangement.
So like Cancer should water and air, does that not mix? Does it just bubble up and just kind of spill out over the top?
I mean, that depends, right? All the air signs are different.
I'm going with no. Every sign is compatible if you put in the work.
I was going to say every sign's compatible, but it's like, an air sign like a Libra to a Cancer is going to be different because they're both cardinal signs, so they're squaring. So they're both about setting something forward into motion. Libras like to set the relationship together. Cancers like to set the emotion and define it and go towards it. Whereas like an air sign like Aquarius, a fixed sign, to a Cancer that's emotional, right? Like Aquarius likes to fixate on where we disconnect from emotion, where Cancer likes to define what emotion is. So Aquarius Cancer is very funky. And then you get like Gemini, which is the 12th house for Cancers, and then Gemini is the most mutable energy that's around, besides Pisces, of course, but that's water sign. But like the air mutability is the most whenever you get to Gemini, right? Because it's actually air, whereas like Virgo is not, it's earth. But there's this whole aspect of like changeability and all that, where Cancer's like, I want to feel this way and I've defined that, where Gemini's like, I'm going to change my mind. So that's why air and water is a little funky, and it can create a lot of steam, but like it also could create like...
But that's how you create mac and cheese, through that steam.
Yeah, but how long does steam last before it turns into cold, and then it's just kind of like, now I got to do the dishes.
I'll gladly clean up mac and cheese.
I'm not saying they can't work. I've seen plenty of them work. I'm just saying that Cancers definitely, when they think about air signs, like they might be in their head more than they're going to be with you in your bed, like emotionally. They might be holding you and be totally somewhere else. And a Cancer always wants to look over and be like, are you here? Are you right here with me? Do you feel me? Do you feel me?
My precious.
Do you feel me?
My precious.
All right, Cancer's first card they got. Wow, they got the great... Hey, that's cool. You can show me racing any day of the week. That's the Four of Rods, upright. Awesome card, by the way. This is a card that deals with success, happiness, love. It's one of the marriage cards in the deck, too. I just will be honest with you out there. But we're going to see what everything falls after this. So this card is saying there's a lot to celebrate. This is always the card that deals with celebrations like birthdays, marriages, parties, coming under the same roof, coming under the same energy. And that's really what this is about. Like Cancer this week, what comes under the same energy as you and what does not? What is there where you really feel like you can cheer yourself? Because usually with this card, it'll be like, oh my gosh, I just had a celebration with these other people and my relationship's not like this. Uh-oh. Or finally my relationship got to this celebration and yeah, now I'm realizing we can work. So there's definitely two parts to this story, but it's definitely one of the best cards I've seen from all the readings we've had as the beginning card. So there's a lot to celebrate about this week. The challenge is the patience. So maybe you meet somebody, or maybe you're realizing that there is a bigger celebration, a better path for you to go, but it's like, it's going to take some time to get there. So if you're ready to go through a breakup because you've seen a better side of life, yeah, it's going to require patience. That's the challenge, but also, are you waiting too long? If you're at a position where you've finally seen the greatness, but you're trying to be patient, like, oh, this is great, but I want to take it slow. It's like, well, maybe you're going to miss out on the best thing of your life. So Cancers have this patient thing of like being too patient or not patient or blocking too much because of patient, And I think that this is going to be determined based off where the celebration, where the excitement, where the The party's really, we got to throw the party card for them, you know. It's got to come out for Cancers. They got a little bit of party coming this week.
I could do that, maybe.
Well, you know, I could be
Just get up and dance
until
for them.
it happens.
Just get up and dance for them.
Do it. Okay. They did get the party, and you got the message. So this is a great week. I just feel that Cancer, you know what, with this message card, with the butterfly and the moth actually too. I always look at this more as a moth. Like there is...
Yeah, it's a moth.
There is something to say about change, about a new message that has come in about what to change, about a better life. But are you being too patient? And when that change finally is ready, are you blocking things because you're being too patient? And if something is really good, why are you being so patient? And if something's really bad, why are you being so patient to continue to be like, oh, this is going to take a long time to get there? Well, you can move towards that like a moth to the flame. So I think that this is definitely a time for you to go towards where the flame is. And wherever that flame is, and stop being so patient and being like, well, I can have that greatness and that party when it finally shows up. You already know where it is this week, Cancer. You got the Chiron card with this patience, this healing. You keep feeling that you need to fix and hold on to the pain of another situation outside of yourself, because that's what Chiron does. People don't realize that Chiron took on others' pain first. That was actually his real gift from Zeus to give him his immortality and so forth, and give him the whole constellation of the centaurs. But, you know, Chiron took on others' pain when it was like a shitty situation. Like, really? You want me to hold the liver of this motherfucker? I think that you are patient because you just keep thinking that something will repair itself instead of moving into greatness this week. You can't be a nurse anymore. With Pluto direct in your relationship house, you cannot be a nurse anymore. And you cannot keep waiting for something to come out of life support. Somebody else can do that for that person. And if there's something great right now in your life that's shown up, why are you trying to be like, I'm afraid to reveal my vulnerability? Let me be patient and let me just wait till I'm through my healing. Well, guess what? Do you really ever think you're through that healing? If this relationship's so great or this is so good, the celebration, the love, the connection might be the greatest healing of your life. Cancer's pulled Capricorn, Venus in the 9th house? Yeah. So this is about experiencing by making decisions of what you really want in your life that you can't experience until you make a hardcore decision. And yes, Capricorn does seem with like patience, but really it's once you've made a decision, now you're actually going towards it. And sometimes it's a slow road to get where we want, but with the 9th house, there's doors that open when you make a decision. And with Venus and Capricorn, it's like in the 9th, it's saying, it's time to expand the horizon. It's time to expand and achieve what we really want. And let's do it. Let's execute it. It's a cardinal sign. Let's go. And especially the 9th house is a house of change, and we got Venus with this. So I think that Cancers are at a place, and especially since, let's just use Venus in Cancer, that in Capricorn, that is your relationship house, Venus in Capricorn when it's there. Yeah, this is definitely dealing with expanding into the world and to the horizon where you want to in a relationship instead of staying on the same plane in the same place. This relationship better rise with you or better change or better go to a better situation, or, you know, there's also relationships that are showing themselves that are opening great doors that you can execute now, but why have this whole, well, I'm wounded, I gotta wait. It's just not gonna work that good because you'll miss out on opportunities and not be able to achieve them.
Right,
Cancer,
so
don't miss out on something great this week.
It's almost like they can use it as an excuse, like being compassionate and caring and understanding, so it's like stifling their own growth. Because they can be a little afraid of that full transformation. What do we got there, player?
Aries.
Oh, those Aries.
Those Aries.
Oh, those Aries. There's a lot of Aries questions, actually.
There's a lot of Aries questions? Wow. Well, they're feeling it. Mars comes into Libra this week. They're ready to figure out all their relationship shit. And Venus is there and Mercury's leaving there. Wow. I like Aries though.
Yeah, they're all right. I'm kidding. I know we're not supposed to leave broken relationships, but what if your ex is still planning the future based on you? Was the movie The Notebook based on true love or issues of codependency? Is it ever safe to go back, or is there actually always something better when it comes to love? Damn.
All right.
I actually, unfortunately...
That's a good question.
Yeah, I know. I never got to see The Notebook. I need
What?
to watch it. I know. I want to see that loving embrace.
I want to put this out there. Craig, we're not watching The Notebook together, number one, okay?
We could do that.
We're not going to do that.
Why not? We'll get some popcorn.
We're not going to do that, dude.
We'll get some
Snickers. No, we're not watching The Notebook
some
together.
Kit Kats.
Not even if it's a case study.
We'll get some, I'll get some mac and cheese with some brats. Maybe
I'll just bring a bunch of Sprites and
get some mint chip ice cream,
Jewel
mix it with some
Pods.
Rocky Road.
And no, we're not watching it together. But I will say this, okay? This is like the best question I think we've ever gotten.
It is really good.
You know, sure, there's some people can subconsciously build their life as like, well, I'm always going to keep this door open as if that person I had once in my life could come back in. Maybe we all do that subconsciously. Subconsciously sometimes is something that's not there. So of course the whole idea in The Notebook is that he builds the house that he talks about and he leaves and he sends letters and her mom doesn't give it to her.
I thought
Was
they
it
just
really
like got
based
lost
off a
in the mail.
codependent relationship? I would say no, because one, he was fucking other chicks and she was fucking other dudes and hooking up with other dudes and even fell in love. So it was like, I think that like it just was one of those random situations that we all kind of hope for maybe to happen if it was something great that kind of got pulled away. And their situation's very unique and different. Every situation's different. But I would say that like if you're basing your whole life, if somebody's basing and building their whole life off you coming back, that would scare me a little bit. Like they literally are probably like if that means they're outside of themselves and they're extremely codependent. Like they're extremely codependent. And like they're like measuring the toilet to fit your butt perfectly. Like that's their toilet.
Could be our toilet.
Well, I'm just trying to say that, you know, it starts to get a little creepy. Like, oh, this room's for her when she does this, because he does do that after she comes in The Notebook. After she comes, it wasn't like he had a room with fucking a bezel and paint ready there. I don't. If I remember right, I'm pretty good with movies. He did that once she showed up and set it all up. We don't know because in the movie they kind of show it as there, but let's be honest, he probably ran to fucking buy some paint. You know what I mean? Like, think about how guys and girls work. Like, you know, if you like somebody and you're gonna do something for them, it's like, and if somebody shows back up, like you'll set it all up to oh yeah. I don't think anybody really builds if they're building their whole life for you, that's kind of creepy. It's kind of like the people who like love Elvis or they love some pop star. And so they like make it all there and they hope for one day that pop star to show up and that would impress them. It actually probably creep them the fuck out.
I mean, I'm still down to watch The Notebook with you.
I will have to be at a very low place in my life, Craig, to watch The Notebook with you.
We could have a screening party. Who wants to come to the studio and watch The Notebook?
If we had a screening party with a bunch of people here, I'd be down.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, do it.
We can all watch the movie and then assess it and then all wonder and question. That would be fun. We should do it. We have the screen here and we have the space to do it. Let us know if you want us to do it. Plus, this week we're talking with some people about doing an event here that's coming up in November to do a high vibe event. So we're going to have exclusive tickets for here, and then if you can't make it here, we're going to have like deals at hotels close by, but then also we're going to be live streaming it. So if you can't make it, you can watch the live stream. Aries. Knight of Wands upright. You're getting back on your horse, back towards happiness and love this week. One thing about the Knight of Wands is you got to stay positive. You got to stay up on your horse. You got to move forward. You got to move into a better place. But the Knight of Wands is to come from love. It has to come from happiness. It can't be a wounded person or anything like that. Like you have to still stay forward on your march towards happiness this week. You cannot be in a place where, you know, you're going to just be like, I'm getting off this horse and I'm not going towards love. I'm done with love. I'm done with love. Guess what? All the situations you've gone through is to help you get back on that train on love. And you've got to. And you've got to show up for love. Knight of Wands shows up. It's the knight in shining armor, the Knight of Wands, for love. If you're not that knight in shining armor, whether that you're a female or a male, like, you really think anybody's going to be into you if you're kind of like, well, I don't know about this, or I don't know if I really want to be there? It's not going to really work out. When you show up with that, boy, especially being in Aries, you light up and everybody wants you. The challenge about that is dealing with abundance, feeling that you don't have it within you, like you don't have the ability to have love. This definitely brings up a lot of self-confidence issues, body issues, self-worth issues, that you don't have enough or you're not good enough to even be worthy of being a knight in shining armor or to be that gleaming energy of love. And this is where the challenge is this week for you, Aries, is you have to realize that you have everything in your life that could create the greatest love. You did pull the healer card upright. You have the power to heal yourself through stepping into happiness and love and showing that you are full of all the energy. And I pulled, it's so weird, when I said Knight of Wands at the beginning, I was like, this wounded part. To see this, I knew something would come up about healing or something about wounds. You're gonna heal yourself from getting back on your best train towards happiness. And if you're in a feeling of lack or abundance didn't come to you or it's never gonna come to you, you're not going to heal yourself. You're actually going to need to be healed. Instead, you can be the healer of yourself by stepping into happiness and feeling abundant and watching that abundance come that puts away all that negative energy and all that feeling of lack. You did get the stability card. So with the earth element, you need to be stable when it comes to your ability to show up. Because stability is showing up. And with the Knight of Wands, you need to always be willing to show up with happiness and love, not be this constant work. I'm not fully abundant. I don't have this yet. I'm not there yet. Earth element is stable. It's like we've already got it. We've got full abundance. And for you, it's full abundance of going towards love. If you are still like, I can't go towards love, or I can't go into this because I don't have this yet, or I haven't figured out that yet, you're going to get nothing but that, and you're going to go into a really deep feeling that you need to be healed. And guess what? Nobody can heal yourself but you.
That the truth.
It's the truth. All right. 8th house, Uranus, Libra. Intimacy changes. Learning to connect in new ways to form relationships. Being vulnerable, putting in all your effort, and 8th house is trust. With Uranus there, you have to trust on the highest form to build the relationships in your life. This is changing the way you trust by actually letting freedom come into your life, by allowing the doors to be open and to allow things to come in and receive. Because if you don't know how to receive, you will never have that love and abundance you want. And this is going to force you to receive, force you to listen to receiving, to have the most beautiful thing that you could have in your life.
It's kind of hard to receive sometimes, I feel like. Almost like you're not worthy, but you got to get over that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we all go through it. It's not just, you know.
Yeah, we all have those issues.
Are you ready to receive your own Scorpio reading?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Scorpios
Because ain't no party like a Scorpio party.
And I'm sure we have Scorpio questions. I'm wearing my boots today.
So, Mr. Palmer.
Yes, Mr. Skidmore.
Is it possible for two people with Venus and Scorpio to have non-toxic relationship? What's the toxicity level of dual Venus, Scorpios, with both having two people with Venus and Scorpio?
I mean, yeah, you could have a non-toxic relationship. I mean, I think Venus in the same sign is a good thing. You see relationships the same way. So if at the beginning you don't see the relationships the same way, then it's a loss. But if you see relationships the same way, then it's fucking connected. But Venus, remember, is at detriment in its in Scorpio. So if you don't see things the same way as far as trust, you don't see the same way as far as passion, you don't see things the same way and equally when it comes to, you know, what you really both want the relationship to look like at the beginning, then that's a no. Then that will never change because it's a fixed sign. It'll never change. It'll just constantly be budding, you know, like intense toxic energy. So yes, it could be toxic, but it's like clear at the beginning. It's not something that is an evolutionary process, even though you think Scorpio is an evolutionary process, which it is. You know,
I actually just went through that. The Scorpio and the Venus situation with a Libra. So that's very true what he was saying. I mean, if you get on the same page, like right off the bat, it can be quite lovely. But if, you know, you kind of miscommunicate or you get off course a little bit, yeah. But no, I'd say go for that.
Well, and it depends. So it's a Scorpio with Venus Scorpio. And if it's another Scorpio with Venus Scorpio, then that's even more so. But if it's another sign and their Venus is in Scorpio, so like a Libra, Sun, Venus, Scorpio, that's Venus in detriment. That's the Sun at fall position. So that's like those two planets are afflicted,
hey, that's what
especially if they have aspects to them negatively. So, you know, they're not at their strength at all. They're at their more weaker points. So a Sun in Scorpio is stronger than a Sun in Libra. And so with a Sun Venus, and also, you know, I have Sun Venus in Leo, my same sign. So it's like, I don't think I've ever been with a Sun Venus Leo. I don't think that's even, I don't think another Sun Venus Leo and I have ever even come into the same contact. I think except for maybe once. And I'll be honest, it was in 2009. And this is, I think, back when Plenty of Fish came out. And we came back to my house after a DJ event when I was playing at Port. And we met, and she was like, let me come to your house. And we were back in the days raving, so we were rolling. And an earthquake happened.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And an earthquake happened.
I don't do that anymore either.
An earthquake happened while we were on our date in my bedroom with like 10 people, and I was DJing in there. And it was like really great that night. She left, and then I never heard from her again.
Heartbreak hotel.
I was a little heartbroken. I was like, I thought this was really good. And then
she missed out on.
It's a Venus Leo, Sun Leo thing though. So Sun Venus, it depends on the sign. Scorpio will put in like a little bit more effort. I think Leo will just kind of be like, well, I don't really see the light here. Whatever. There was also an earthquake though that night. That was probably a sign. And I remember we were.
It was a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, you know, we were rolling, so like it just.
Some Pokeballs?
Yes, those are exactly, it was that time. It was that time in life. And I remember they'd been just taken, because that was our date. Like, she was a rave, kind of cool. Like, we just took the pills, and then 30 minutes into it, you start coming up, and the earthquake happened. I remember everybody in my house was like looking at me like, whoa, and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And then that kind of made like, wow, is this a cool day? And it was just a really fun night. And then after that.
You probably avoided one.
If you're not saying I'm not vulnerable and real in this show and in life, I'll tell you the truth.
Look deep into his eyes.
She was kind of hot too, actually.
Yeah, maybe
all right, so we got the Four of Pentacles. So this is about finding things.
Last week was fucked.
I know. I know it was fucked last week, but look at how good this is coming this week. All right.
I'm just saying.
Let's look at the positive here, Craigie. Look
I'll
at
do
this.
my best.
Four of Pentacles. is a good card for actually attaining what you want in a relationship. But if you go about it too hard, right? So, because see, Venus, like, or the Four of Pentacles is like the man who will not let go. Like, I want this and I'm never letting it go. The good news is this card attains what it wants. The bad news is if it attains it from a greedy position. So, if you're going about it from a greedy position, or you're going about something too hard in a sense, like you'll do anything to have it, and there's resistance or anything, you'll get it and it will not feel good. But if it's like you really want it and you just put your best effort and you don't push over the board and you really set the intention right and you set, you know, the value of something high and you say, that's what I want and I'm going to manifest that, it'll happen. But it also is a check on from what you want. Is it really what you want? Like, have you assessed the value of everything completely? If you've assessed the value from all the understandings, then yes. I mean, there's 4 elements, right? So once you've got all 4 elements understood, is it intellectually stimulating? Is it emotionally stimulating? Is it connecting on some sort of passionate level? And more importantly, is it connecting even deeper on it makes sense in my life? You can have it. But if it's like only in the passion and only in the intellectual or only the passion and the emotional, but the other 2 don't mix and you're trying for it, it's almost like, not going to happen. The challenge card you got is the healing. So I think that this is like only a challenge if you feel like this week there's a situation that was shitty and you're trying to fix it. So if you're using this energy to fix a relationship, it is definitely a week about not trying to fix something, allowing something to be like, it's not working. Let me use this energy of what I can have for what I really want instead of trying to fix a broken record. Like, or trying to fix a broken something. Like, this is where the challenge is like, well, maybe I can heal this relationship. Well, any relationship that needs healing right now for you, I would say no, especially with all this 12th house and Mars in the 12th house this week. It's like cutting out things that are actually going to make you feel like you need to be healed because it's already not working and you don't want to use this energy where you're going to have everything that you want. Why are you going to take something that's already broken or tainted in a way? Wow, you got the full moon card.
Oh.
I think that this is saying, especially with the moon in your sign starting off this week, like, this is where are the emotions fully there? Go towards that. If there's a feeling where the emotions are not on the same page fully, that's how you know not to go towards there. But if the emotions are very extreme and they're very intense and they're very there, that's where you want to go. But if you're still going backwards and trying to fix relationships that aren't working, and I know a lot of Scorpios trying to do this one right now, this is where it ain't going to work anymore. You got to go to where the full feeling is and explore the full feeling. Instead of going back and trying to keep looking into the past. And you did pull the Sag card. It's about exploring what is already a good energy, which already is going to open doors. This is a great week. There is energy trying to move you forward into greater situations that are new adventures, not adventures of healing. Would you watch that movie? Or would you watch Adventures in the Greatest Having of the Emotional Love of Your Life?
What was the other option?
The Adventures of Healing.
I'm going with love.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, and 11th house, Uranus, Scorpio. Oh!
Crushing it.
This is where the romantic aspects this week are all about only connecting with people who get the world you're in, who want to connect with the world that you're in, and are on the same energy where they could feel like intense best friends, intense energy, and they like to be around your energy. They like to be around your friends. They want to be in your world. They want to be in your circle. They want to be part of your circle. You want to be part of their circle. But if there's a disconnect on that kind of energy, and they also have a different idea of the world than you do, then not going to work out.
Well, there we go. I'm just going to continue doing me and see what I attract into the equation.
I have to burn a card because I saw it. It was the Empress card, which we'll throw up for Scorpio. Like,
Yeah, give me that Empress card, yo.
the Empress card is the best knowing a value of the relationship in the world. Like, it either is or it isn't. It is the best or it is not. No in between.
I'm just going to continue enjoying my life. I came from a dark place, this time last year, and I'm feeling pretty damn good right now. So.
Good. Aquarians. A dark place.
Yeah, I was in a dark place, sitting in the corner of the room, crying to myself, asking why.
Oh my gosh.
That's only halfway true, and
Yeah, we went through that
pretty much
yesterday
all the
when I
way
came to
true,
your house and saw
actually.
you. It was interesting going through the stories.
like, why me? Why me? Let's see.
You gotta let go of that, all those old stories.
I did. Now I laugh about it. I'm in a much better spot than my counterpart, in my opinion. So I'm good.
I would have to agree with you, like beyond 110%.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine being going through that right now
No.
and being on that journey.
No.
Ay, ay, ay.
Um.
Especially karma comes back.
F yeah, it does. I'm an Aqua Sun rising, and Aqua dealing with a male. It's getting a lot of she's getting a lot of mixed signals. Let me tell ya, she's got a dilemma. She feels like he's in a confused space right now. She's getting confused. There's all this confusion floating around. Is she just being delusional? She's just being delusional, or couldn't there really be love there when someone's sending like mixed signals, or they're being like a little apprehensive? What's your feeling on that? Like, if someone's not really fully committing in the beginning, if they're kind of pulling back.
Pretty simple.
If they want you, they'll get you.
I was gonna say that, but it's like Aquarius and Leo, because I'm talking Aquarians. That's my counterpart, my same color, different shade. Anytime that I've been in a relationship where I was hesitant and then I tried it later, guess what? It fucking ends in tragedy. And so if somebody's showing mixed signals, they're not ready. And now, even if somebody shows mixed signals to me, no matter how much I've tried or whatever, they're not there. They're not showing up. They don't want to be there. They don't want the fucking greatness. You got to remember you're great, Aqua. You're exciting, you're fun, you're unique. Remember that light, that power that you have as Aquarius. You are electric. You connect. It'd be like trying to plug a cord into you, or you try to plug a cord in to power up love, and there's no power, and you're just going to sit there and wait for the power company to turn it on, and there's no date and time when they're going to plug it, fucking turn the power back on. Or it's like your internet's out and the cable company's like, we'll turn it on, but I don't know when. When you're already putting all the dues in, you already paid your bill. Come on. Simple. All right, Aquarius. 3 of Pentacles upright. This is time to build something that is beautiful and of structure, and that, is gorgeous. It was perfect. It was a perfect phone call. It was a perfect thing. I like how you have AA Aqua.
My bad. See, this
It's all
is
good.
This is live.
So we're sculpting a better Aqua. Aqua. So there's something about sculpting something beautiful right now, and there's support around it, and there's information. There's definitely not mixed signals. This is either where you're also going to test whether or not what you have or what you're building right now is continuing to build, or are you looking at something that you want it to be, but it's not really showing up that way, or the tools aren't there, or there is no yes. One thing about 3 of Pentacles is this man's been hired to build the sculpture, to do the work. And so there's the people, they've paid him, they're telling him how they want it, and he's going to build something beautiful. They're also offering advice, So there's this aspect of going to build something together. But when you think about this thing that you're building, is it really in alignment with who you are, what you want to do? Because sometimes people might say yes, but if they're going to go build a hotel full of devil worshipers, like, do you really want to take on that project? So I think that there's a positive though here. The main thing is positive. Just focus on what is like, who wants to show up and build, who wants to grow and make something better, who wants to cultivate together, and who's offering their energies and advice and showing up. These people show up. They're showing up to do the work. That's where you need to focus on. And are you showing up to do the work? It's time for you to show up to do the work, because maybe people are not showing up if you're not showing up fully. That's a big question on you and on the other side. Your success card is your challenge. Interesting to get this right after the card of building something, that the challenge might feel that, is it really going to be successful? Or is your success latent upon just building something? I think that it has to be that you cannot have a relationship just about building something, like a business or a project, or you got to realize that that's not going to bring you success in love because you're only focused on the project, or you're only focused on building something or attaining something. The ultimate success is if you're building things on all areas, love, this, that, and that's where maybe you need to tweak things and test and stress test and see if you're trying to build a relationship right now. Are you just doing this because it's going to be a temporary fix for something, and then when you actually complete it, will it be there for love? Also, the challenge of success is like, maybe it's continuing to repeat all the unsuccessful things, or it's like you're seeing unsuccessful situations show up, or you've tried it before and it didn't go to success. Like, why are you going to go try and keep building something that has failed before? You did pull the death card up right. This is a time of massive change, massive, having to like let go of a whole idea of building something that you might not have seen that there's more angles to this. Building things from all layers, building things from all depths. Because I think that there's too much looking at one position of what to achieve instead of all the positions this week. And this death card is saying, if you can let go of those unsuccessful situations, or you can let go and truly die out, this idea that we're going to go build something together, and it's actually just based off only a couple points, but not on all points, something's going to show up that much better. But it also is a rebooting in a relationship where you can reboot to go build something beautiful and find success if you are willing to accept your failures, their failures, and more importantly, have a more deeper understanding of where things are going to be going on all areas. You did pull the Scorpio transformation card, so it's another death. So, there is something to say about over trying to transform or create something. It's like, it reminds me of that movie with Ryan Reynolds, Only Friends, isn't that what it is? Just Friends, right? So like Ryan Reynolds is the fat guy, and he's best friends with the hottest girl in school. And then he goes out, and it's almost like he goes to try and change his life to be perfect for her. So he goes to Hollywood, he becomes a big Hollywood manager, he becomes thin, and then he goes back and tries to be with her. But what really it was that she wanted was him to be him. Of course, in a weird way, she likes him now because she did change.
Yeah, exactly. Bullshit.
But that's what I'm trying to say, is that this is kind of a weird, tricky situation. We're going to have to throw another card.
Bullshit.
I think Aquarians are in some confusing waters here.
Hook those aquas up.
I think that they're a little blinded by certain energies right now and trying to turn something into something else. They got concentration. So, interesting. I've never pulled this card for this show, but this card is always where it's like, if you're going to build something great, like, are you sure that you can concentrate on this for a long time? Or is this just something that like is just fleeting? Like, ooh, it's a great idea. Or, ooh, this seems like it would be fun. Or, ooh, I'm kind of obsessed with it right now. But are you sure that you could stay concentrated on this for long? Because being an Aquarius, like, unless it's extremely stimulating, like, it'll get boring really fast. So the test is, if you can concentrate on this thing every moment of every day for the next week and get through that and be like, I'm still into this, well, maybe there's something there. But if there's some fleetingness in yourself, or they're not willing to show up and concentrate on you other than this, or once they got what they want, or once you got what you want, there's this, oh, now I'm in another energy. End of that story. You got the second house Neptune in Gemini. Yeah, this is this value needing to be reassessed because the mind is clouding the true facts of what you're creating. Like, what you want to have is not really showing the full environment. It's almost like there's a revealing happening this week of what is actually being there, and your mind was blinded by what you thought was there. And so this is having to reassess once you see through the veil and see what's really there this week. So this is a week of like non-committing, because it's time for you to make sure you don't go into an unsuccessful situation.
So weigh out all the options.
Yeah,
Because
really
Aquas just need to go enjoy themselves.
really
huh?
see if they're fully into it either. Pisces is next.
Just go out there and get a little weird, Aqua. Let that freak flag fly.
Well, I think that, I think it's a good thing when you like just said, go get out there and get weird. It's almost like sometimes people can attach, like let's say they meet someone and then they're like, oh yeah, like I'm not in a relationship, but I'm all about it all the way. And haven't really maybe even fully discussed it yet, or still are not fully in a relationship. Like, I think that this is a weird territory for people because it offends the other person, or it offends even themselves. Like, I think it's like, until like you're like fully in and all that shit, like you have no responsibility to hold yourself until like either A, there's been a talk about it, or there's been a talk about moving to a certain level or a direction. If there's been no talk about that shit, it's fucking free reign for them and for you. If you expect, because a lot of people, I've done a lot of readings for people where they're like, well, we were dating and then this person just fucking went out and they ended up with someone else. And I'm like, were you in a relationship? No. I'm like, well, did you guys talk about that you guys are exclusive to each other? Well, no. Well, it's like, well, free reign. No any Pisces questions?
There's a couple. So far, I haven't made the cut yet. This one's about ending negative patterns or behavior. Do you have any advice for Pisces? She finds herself a lot longing to be alone, or just out of this current relationship, yet she does not know how to leave. But she has negative thoughts going on in her mind about it. So, basically, how can you give her...
Let's start this one over. This one seems...
I know you've been talking a lot about ending negative patterns or behaviors. Do you have any advice to help recognize what those patterns are? I find myself a lot of times kind of longing to be alone or just out of a current relationship. As a Pisces, I wonder if my relationship really is a problem, or is it just me and my Pisces nature wanting to swim away all the time? Is my pattern staying in this negative situation, or is my pattern giving up and calling it a quits too soon? I don't think it's too soon if you're already recognizing all those negative patterns, but...
I think the patterns that Pisces are going through is the same roads they've been down many times before, staying around the same kind of people, the same kind of environments, the same kind of situations that they know well already. So of course you're going to leave, because the fish is like, I've been in this school of fish before, and then it's like you leave and then you come back into that same school of fish and find someone else and it's the same fish, and it's like, what the fuck, and then move out. And there's a problem with Pisces right now staying stuck with this 11th house stuff, with Pluto coming direct, with Saturn here, South Node. It's like the same group of people, but it's like denying them their true heart space. It's like, I want to be a fish that explores fully who I am. And I have a Pisces friend who, was just alive in high school, and just everybody just was like, God, this person was amazing. And then it's almost like got pulled into a school of fish that doesn't get to come out anymore. And so like, there's something about not giving a flying fuck about what people think anymore, or this comfort in staying in a same school of fish and being willing to explore other fish and other schools of fish.
Yeah,
and to
maybe
go
you need
find
some
your own
ahi.
unique brightness right now.
I really enjoy not giving a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So
That came with a lot of work, though.
I don't
happen
think that it's a
overnight.
question of whether the pattern for Pisces is not whether they're leaving or whether it's if you're staying in the same environments, in the same schools that you know you've been in before, and you're playing out situations you've done before. It's like, well, I'm going to find a cowboy that wears cowboy boots and fucking wears a hat, and he lives in this part of the city. Okay, and you do that one all over again. What about doing a city slicker who's like fucking wearing this and wearing that, and he's got different kind of friends, and he's into art, or he's into this, or he's into that, or like trying something way different in a different place. And also with Jupiter here in the 10th, like tend to go towards a road you've always wanted. So why don't you be around people that actually fit that instead of staying on the same path because you're too afraid to leave the people who aren't on that path, so you're stuck. Pisces love to get stuck. It really is about being a fish and jumping out of the water. You know, Marco Polo, fish out of water. That's so you can advance your position. We pulled the Wheel of Fortune card this week. Fortune is showing up if you allow the wheels to turn in your life, Pisces. Turning the wheel. We got things that need to change. Turn to new places. Go to where the fortune lies. Don't be afraid of it, Pisces. Don't be afraid to go to where the universe is leading you to go. Although Pisces can confuse fortune with their own subconsciousness, these are where the universe shows signs that it's like, move into this direction. Also, very fated cards. So there's a big fated moment coming up this week to turn the wheel of your life to a more fortunate position. Sometimes it doesn't look good, though. And it's about that magic. What you thought was magic before is no longer magic anymore. But in order for you to get back to magic the way that you want magic to be, you're going to have to realize that the magic in your life now is going to be a new magic. Not the magic you've been in, not the school of fish that you've been swimming in magically. This Wheel of Fortune is changing you to get to real magic, but the challenge is that you still are trying to put magic on things that has lost its magic. And I think that that's the hardest part, is that no longer can you turn situations like, I can turn this into how I want it to be. And again, like it's almost like
I'm a real boy.
What?
I'm a real boy.
I'm a real boy. Yeah, you know what? Okay, Pinocchio already became a boy. Now you're trying to fucking, what else do you want him to be? Fucking...
I'm a real shrimp scampi.
You gotta say like, what do you want to turn him into Mickey Mouse now? Fucking like, sorry, Mickey came before fucking Pinocchio. Like that was Walt's favorite. If you're trying to turn Pinocchio into fucking a head honcho of Disneyland, I'm sorry. Pinocchio like is a ride that they keep in the back. You don't see Pinocchio walking around at the beginning of the entrance to Disneyland. And they don't even get Geppetto around that motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like, because he's kind of a creep ball now. In today's society, Geppetto would be in jail. So, yeah, I think that you said that one perfectly, Craig. Wow, they got the new moon. How funny. Full moon was for the Scorpios. Pisces got the new moon. This is about starting something new. Coming from a whole new lunar cycle, coming from a new position. And this was a new moon in Pisces. And guess what's, a new moon in Libra. You know what Libra is for all Pisces? It's the 8th house. This is about your real passions, your sexual edge, your depth, your intensity. It's almost like the magic's been lost of edge and intensity that you need to find back in your life. And that's what's trying to turn. The truth is that you're too connected to the school of fish that you've been in because it's comfortable, but it's really not that edgy. And at the end of the day, then you feel more alone than ever because there's no more magic there. And you did pull the part of fortune. Holy moly.
Damn.
You are going to get the magic you want, but you're going to have to let go of the magic that you thought was magic that is no longer magic anymore. Oh, you know, it's better to move from Pinocchio to, I don't know.
Shrek?
Well, if we're using a male figure, I would say like the knight in shining armor and
Shrek's a
Sleeping
male.
Beauty. I think it's Philip. Yeah, Prince Philip. You can have Pinocchio and keep trying to magically do more, but the magic's been done there. But like Prince Philip has all this magic to go wake up the princess and fight the dragon and fight Maleficent and win the whole thing. That's a whole better new story, and there's a little bit of edge there, and he looks a little bit more passionate. I don't know if Pinocchio, the only way that he'd be able to get you off is by lying and pulling his nose out.
I just want to be Wesley from Princess Bride.
He's a good guy.
I want to be that cat.
Oh, that was
As
the best
you
joke of the day.
wish.
The only way that you're going to get off anymore off this situation is when they keep lying, because their nose will pop out, and that's the only way to get off. And that's the only edge that you could feel about anything, because fucking lying creates edge. All right, because you're so bored. Oh, Mercury and Aquarius in the first house. It's time to rethink the weird of you. It's time to go into a whole new environment that you need to be telling Pisces to be weird. You need to throw them the party card. They need to go have a party in a new place. And this might trigger them. That's who you should pay attention.
Hey, I'm always down. We can come out to Venice. We can hop on one of my beach cruisers. We'll fill up a couple water bottles with some wine. We'll get a little weird. We'll go on a little bike ride.
We're going on a little bike
We'll go on a
ride.
little bike ride. We'll stumble upon some fun things. We'll see some art. It'll be a grand old time.
And then you could end up in the
Zen Den,
The Zen Den
or
and
the
the
Dungeon
Dun-
of Dreams.
the Dungeon of
It's up to you.
I was just in there yesterday. It was a great time.
That you were. It was a Zen
And
Den
it's
at
coming
that time.
together because it's been a big project, but
It has been.
It's pretty much almost done.
Yeah, I'm just adding a little paint here and there, adding a little flavor, a little ta 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 ta.
All
Keep it
right,
going.
Tauruses. Yeah, I was in there yesterday. It was good. And then we were playing with the Greek sex cards, and I pulled the cards based off like the Destiny card system. Craig's card. Oh, if you have the computer. Oh, it died. Let me see if I have you in this card. Oh, I don't think I took a picture of you in your card.
Block and all.
Anyway, Craig's card was a naked man with a flute dancing with a large erection.
Which is not much different than me on a Saturday night.
Right.
So,
My
so they're not
card,
the flute.
my card
Have a lap
was
harp,
my
though.
5 of clubs. If you can show this card, was me getting down with a chick like
Yeah,
that.
these were a gift that I received from Greece. So we're not being weirdos. It's actually
We're not being
a
weirdos.
deck.
These were actually just looked at and we applied it to the Destiny card system. It's not like, but anybody in this space, if we're going to be doing tarot, like, hello. We have any questions here for Tauruses or no?
I don't know.
Nope.
Nah.
Nah. All right. Well, they got the world card up right, so
Oh, that's
this is
good,
a
though.
completion of something in a whole new world. I've been saying this, Tauruses should watch their sun sign horoscopes on High Vibe. I talk a lot about this one. But this is a good card. This is usually where a lot of doors open up to new things because there's a completion element, like the world has been reached, and now you see that this one world's done, and now you see a new world entering to another. Also, it's a card that brings a lot of luck, like as far as like, okay, this is the world that now you can go have. And so with love, like there's anything possible for Tauruses right now. It's been all over the astrology, it's been all over Taurus's life, but I think that Tauruses are stuck in worlds where they're denying themselves of love, or they might be in the greatest love of their life right now. And actually, I applaud those Tauruses. But I think that there is a part of Taurus where right now it's like, what's the block towards this amazing world? There's such a great world right now that you could have. There's such an amazing part of connection to the best love that you could ever have right now. Especially with the way the astrology is. You guys are going to have Mercury for over the next 2.5 months in your relationship house, like in Scorpio. And then Venus is entering into Scorpio soon, and Mars will be coming into Scorpio soon. Taurus is like, come on, it's already been on buildup. Let's go. And the challenge is faith. I think that Tauruses just don't believe they can have the world of love of their life. And this is faith in their own self, their own vision of themselves. We're in the 6th house, their own lifestyle, their own body, their own everything. Like, I think that this is definitely a time to be like, you need to have faith again. Maybe play a little bit of like positive affirmations in your life about what you can have and start visualizing that world. I think that this is a week for Tauruses to start visualizing the world of love they want and definitely not going backwards. I actually heard about one of my best friends from high school is a Taurus who was thinking about getting back with his girlfriend that cheated on him. And I haven't called them yet, but I need to fucking call that motherfucker.
F that noise.
Definitely not going to do that. And
once the trust is broken, you
and look
cannot
at
trust
this new
them again.
life after I said that about him. So maybe this is about him, but I also think it's about all Tauruses. Like, there is a beautiful new world coming for you with relationships right now in your life, and to accept it, and you need to have the faith in that. I think anything from the old world, if we're going to use the world card and this faith, and I just don't know why I keep getting it, because 9th house is the ruler of Capricorn for you, and this is where there's Pluto coming direct. Old world is not where the new life will start. New world, new life, new things, having faith in the new. Uranus is in your sign. And you did get 9th house faith doubly. Look at that. Faith, and faith is your challenge. Oh my gosh. You need to have faith about faith. Wow. I don't even know what else to say besides that. I mean, literally, maybe they need to listen to like a little, George Michael, a little Faith?
Yeah, buddy. Or Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit's version's all right. George Michael's the original, but George Michael also had the faith to go hang out in a bathroom in Santa Monica, so that didn't turn out too well.
He was living in his true, authentic self, which,
Yeah.
gotta give the man credit.
That is, yeah. I just think that, let's be real. You and I live in LA. We live on the West Side. Even if you were living in your true authentic self, would you really be doing it in a Santa Monica bathroom right there? Have you been in one
Short
of those
answer,
lately?
yes.
Were you in one of those in the 90s? I used to be, they're gross.
Well, if you're into weird, gross things, it's a perfect habitat to get your freak on.
Oh my gosh, those silver toilets with the...
They work.
Sun and Capricorn in the 9th house. Oh man, more faith. You know what? This is all faith. You got to start to make your number one position faith in new things, not faith in old things or blocking opening of doors. There's so much about blocking and staying in old stories. It's insane. Move into this new life, because there's something about continuing to try and hold on and block a new life from beginning in love and in all aspects, and that's connected to your romantic life, because nothing will come in if you can't do that, Taurus. Come on, Taurus. Come on. Even Taurus moons, Taurus risings. We only have a couple left. We have
I think
Sag
we got like
and-
4 left,
and
right?
then
Or something like
Geminis.
that. 2?
No, we have 2 left, Sag and Gemini.
Man,
So we'll do the Sagittarius. That's what I pulled first, and then Gemini's are last.
time flies when you're having fun.
Yep, and these 2 signs have had some crazy ass shit go on.
I'm thinking that trend is going to continue.
Yes.
I'm feeling it. There we go. We got a little Sag action coming right. Cha.
So right here, right here.
Right. Show. Oh, I closed down the mail on accident.
Right here.
Also, can you just shorten up those questions a little bit, people, too? Please? Just a little bit. But I don't need to hear the whole story. So if as above, so below, all stars have a binary partner star, do you think we have the same as humans? If one of the stars burns out, the other star goes shooting through space at an unbelievable speed, considered to be chaotic. Makes you think twice now that you see a shooting star. I never thought about it that way. So yeah, did you get that?
I got that.
I'd never heard that concept before. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, there's an old book called Binary Star that's about the binary star system. It's a theory that's been around for 20 years or more.
Well, fucking A.
I think that the difference between a star and a human is pretty apparent. A star, sure, it's moving around another one, but it's not like it's even by its energy all the time. And it's giving life to other life forms, like, and that other stars too. And they're more guides. So I think that it's like, I would say that binary stars are more like your guide on the planet that you're doing work with, like not romantically. I mean, I might have said in the past too that it could feel like that, but I don't know if I really have. But I really feel that, like, with us being human and with us being in the projection and from the stars that are the projectors, sure, you could form that as humans we're projecting, but I'm just a big believer that, no, I definitely feel that there's not just one person that's the star, and if it doesn't work out, now you're shooting off into another space. I think people who do that, that's a little bit of like a little schizophrenic, right? And then a little mental health issue, like, because if it doesn't work with somebody that you think and you put everything all into that, there is no truly knowing ever. That's theoretic. Like, the factual aspect is something that you have to pay attention to. I just don't believe if something doesn't work, there's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees of a relationship staying forever together. What if they die? They're gonna die.
I think that's the point.
So what? So when they die, you just fly off? I mean,
Yep.
I'll use an example, and I know it's a personal one, but my grandmother was married to my grandfather for over 50 years. And when he passed away, she's still here, since 2002. That's, 16 years later. And it's not like she's flown off. She's done great work. She gives me so much love. She gives my brother so much love, my father, my aunts. She's a beautiful woman, and I appreciate her so much in my life. So I don't buy that one.
I one time saw a star that then I thought was a satellite that turned out to be a UFO.
Oh,
so
nice.
There's that little fun fact for the day.
Well, maybe that this was a premonition due to the fact that Sagittarius are a little bit too obsessed with relationships right now. I'm saying that because of all this weird Capricorn stuff of putting possession on people and value too much. And then this whole die or have. Okay. The arrows of love are going the wrong direction. So I think with Mercury coming into the 12th for 2 months plus, and next week Venus, and Mars following in 40 days, that's going to meet up with Mercury. I think that this is a time where Sagittarius are realizing that the arrows of love just keep going in the wrong direction, or they just keep trying to go back, and nothing's moving forward the way they want to in love. And this has to deal with where they put their energy, how they do it, and not allowing energy that to come in. Because one thing about an 8 of Wands is it's all the arrows of love moving in a positive and forward direction. When it's reversed, it's like, okay, now energy's trying to come in that will love you, and it's almost like, no, I only want love from that area or this person or whatever. And it's like, you're just missing the whole fucking, all these subways just keep passing, and you're like, I need a subway, like, but I'm just gonna wait for that one that comes where they have that one seat. And it's like, you know, when you're on New York subways, you're lucky if you even get a seat sometimes. Like, take the fucking ones that are like coming in that make sense. Like there's this, and again, and this is coming from my guides, I'm using the tarot too, that there's this just continually going backwards. Yeah, the luxury card. You're obsessed with this idea that this love that you want, and especially person, it's like you'll lose all the luxuries in your life, or you'll lose the goodness, or you'll lose money, or you'll lose all this. And you know what? That's not love. You're attached to the physical aspects. You're attached to this idea of quality that actually you're not allowing yourself to see the quality of something else because you're obsessed with the quality of what you've had, or what you've seen, or what you've touched. As we're talking right now, the 2020 cards are coming out that we don't even know what they feel like. So that's better than a 2019, or in your case, maybe better than a 1991 relationship, or even one 3 years ago, and you're still attached to it and it's not going the right direction. Oh, veiled, I know. You know what? This is you painting a picture of something that you can't paint anymore. Like, the veil has to come off because you're veiled into seeing with rose-colored glasses these situations you think are so great when they're really going in the wrong direction, and they're inhibiting your ability for growth towards a more positive place and the true luxury and the true value of what you want to feel and see. And you got Pluto, the death card, transformation right on top of that luxury. And Pluto is coming direct this week in your second house, that you're obsessed with holding on to something that you can't let go of. Libra, Saturn in the fourth house. It's time for you to take control of your emotions about a relationship and really see if the emotions are reciprocal, fair, equal, and are actually going and building something great, or if this is just all you or all them, but mainly it looks like this is all you trying to build something emotionally that's unequal, and you're going to need to make hard decisions emotionally in order to equate to the emotions that you really want to feel in your life. I will give Sages a Ganesha card.
Yeah, I feel like that's a step up.
They got
from what
childlike
they have
expression.
been.
I think that, you know what? If you're not feeling like that childlike feeling and you're trying to have to, it's almost like a child having to prove to their mother to love them. Ooh, I'm hitting some fucking nails right now into the coffin. If you're having to prove to your mom to like you, and that's how your relationship feels, like if you had to prove to the parent, like me. Oh God, I'm sick. I can't even believe I had this kid. Well, that's not a good feeling. And this is a reminder for it to feel like a childlike, easygoing, like everybody wants you around instead of you having to fight for it. Watch Letary and Milton if you get a second on YouTube.
Or you should
Letary
watch,
and Milton.
or that new Chappelle, Sticks and Stones. That shit's funny.
Letarian Milton.
Sticks and Stones, baby.
Letarian Milton
Or Letarian
is
Milton.
not your typical
You could do it.
7-year-old. We got Geminis now, last one. Letarian Milton took his grandmother's car and thought he wanted to do bad things and took it out on a joyride. Hit 2 parked cars.
I just think he wanted to do some hood rat things with his friends.
Because he just wanted to do some hood rat things with his friends. And they asked him, like, well, do you think your mama and your grandma will be mad? He goes, no, I don't know, maybe no video games for like a week. Letary Milton ended up, years later after that, if you follow his story, stealing an Uber with his buddies at gunpoint.
Recently, right?
Yeah, it was like a year ago or something. Stole the Uber, fucking kicked the Uber driver out. I don't know what he was doing, ended up in jail. But what I'm trying to say is that this kid tried way too hard to be hard. He tried way too hard to have his parents' love, but he just was destroying it.
He just needed a fucking spanking back in the day.
Yeah, he did. But also that childlike expression can go in a very negative place. You got to look at how his parents are treating him to even be that way. You know what I mean? Because then she was like, I'm going to whip his behind right now. And then they did those little remixes, like, I'm going to beat his behind right now. I took my grandma's car and we smoked some cigarettes.
I'm 24 hours without a cigarette.
Yeah, Craig told me yesterday, don't give me no cigarettes. So
24 hours, y'all. How do my lungs look? Can you see them? How do they look? I'm projecting it.
they're doing good. You're doing the 12th house thing. It's a good thing.
Ah!
All right, what do we got? As I hit my vape, what do we got? Which, you know, is a risky business right now, doing vapes. Risky biz. All right.
I say we just start rolling along.
There's no questions for Geminis? Man.
They were all, they didn't meet the requirements. Even the one that said, I hope that this makes a requirement, and then goes to specifically ask about her sign and her rising compatible with a certain sign and a certain rising. So.
Okay. All right, Gemini. Ooh.
That's what you get, Gemini. Can't follow the rules.
Well, I think this is just because Pluto is coming direct in the 8th house. And so the idea of control, the idea of controlling things from falling apart or ending is Gemini's biggest lesson right now. And this week, there are some things that are not going to go the way you want to in love. But that doesn't mean it's all over. It's just your own nightmare and perception of things. But really, it's probably saving you from something that wasn't meant to connect. I think that you're going to get revealed with Pluto coming direct in the 8th house of secrets, and with the South Node there and Saturn, with the Moon going to occult there by the end of this week. And we have a Moon square the Sun in your 5th house Sun, and with Mars moving into your 5th house. Here you are trying to move into happiness and maybe some outer source that you wanted. Maybe you love somebody or you like someone and they move on to someone else, or maybe you like someone, they dump you, or maybe you're revealed a secret, or maybe there's something that just, you can't control things, and you have to learn to control your happiness instead of, when something doesn't work the way you want to, just falling apart. And happiness is your card for the challenge, which is where the Sun and Mars and Mercury and Venus are. I mean, Mercury's moving to Scorpio, but we do have it to start this week. So your challenge is overall happiness. Like, there's definitely something fallen from grace this week. And I think that you need to remain happy with no matter what happens. Like, hey, happiness happens, right? Whatever happens, stay happy. Use that as your analogy this week. Whatever happens, stay happy. Because happen and happiness, happen, like they're both in the same category. That you have to learn to be happy with whatever happens in life. That is the secret to happiness. And I think that for you, you're so terrified. So you're almost willing to do anything and control everything and think that you have figured everything out, that you have investigated, and you know, this will keep me safe. This will keep me from losing anything. When the North Node is in Cancer, being like, guess what? The only comfort is, yeah, sure, stability, but like that value is there. But you got to remember, like, you guys have Capricorn in your 8th house. There you are trying to control things from dying and not dying, that you think that you're smart enough to figure it all out. I mean, like, look at Trump's situation. He really thinks he can control every situation by controlling and micromanaging this person to say that and this person to do that, from it all not collapsing. He'd probably be okay if he didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, but that's where he's getting in trouble, is because of, I'm saying that, and I've got, you say that, and I've got control. Magic card. Now, this card is a good card. The magic comes after destruction because there is something more magical trying to form. Usually magic especially comes with a big explosion or some sort of change or some sort of, you know, extreme event. There's definitely an extreme event happening this week. And this magic is trying to take you to the better magic that you're at. So, you know, this is playing out for the right way, but it's going to be the ultimate test of your happiness and the ultimate test of when things don't go the way that you want to, that feel like a nightmare, that you just have to realize that there's magic on the other side of this and allow it to happen, to allow the magic to truly show itself. You did pull the Pisces card that you have to believe. You have to also, you know, realize that there's losses in life, and happiness is when you learn how to believe that happiness happens even when things fall apart. Pisces are where things fall apart, and it's the ultimate test of true spiritual belief. And this is going to be a week that'll test you extremely on your ability to go with the flow, to take you to where you really need to go, to the ultimate magic. I'm going to pull a Ganesha card for you. You got beginnings. So this is about starting new beginnings, and I think that's going to be very difficult for you, since I think that you have to realize that, like, new beginnings come with big endings, and big endings are what start new beginnings. So allow new beginnings to come in. Allow old situations or situations that didn't work out to be as they are. Be happy. Let the magic come in to build new beginnings, and step into the ultimate surrender to these new beginnings, instead of holding on to, I had this figured out, I thought this is what it was supposed to be, and And Neptune in the 11th house in Virgo. So there's this whole delusion of reality of the world that you thought was going to show up. And now the veil's being revealed, that the world and the reality are changing. And this is where you have to learn to spiritually learn your lesson, and to connect with wherever the real truth is, and allow that to take you to the place wherever that it's going to go, instead of putting all these projections out of the way that you think the reality really is, that you were missing a lot of the actual critical steps and projecting this connection that actually did not reality fit with where you're really going.
You did so good today. You didn't drop any dice.
I know.
You fucking crushed it.
You did great too, and everybody was great supporting us here in the chat room.
We just had someone pop in from Germany.
Boom. Thank you for joining us from Germany.
Good morning.
Thank you everybody from joining us around the world. We love you.
Thank you all.
There's a lot of amazing content now in High Vibe. Check out the Instagram. It's just at High Vibe TV. Please support us there. We're starting to post awesome content from all the other creators. I'm posting stuff on there. It's awesome. Please follow me on my Instagram to get updates on when I go live here on YouTube, or especially stuff that's going on at High Vibe. I'm at the Leo Kingdom, and you can follow Craig at Chief.
Chief Mojo Rising, baby. 2 E's.
Yeah. Chief
Mojo
Rising. I love you all. I know we all love you at High Vibe. Thanks so much. And I hope you have a great week with love. I'm sending you the greatest prayer for that, and to trust and to allow and to just be. And we'll see you on the next show.